Joe Rogan Podcast. Check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
Let's get right into it.
Yeah.
And, you know, if he does have firsthand knowledge, he's not allowed to say it until now. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Because I was also under the impression he didn't have firsthand knowledge, so he
Very quick.
Yeah, he said it very quick.
You know what? You know edging? What edging is?
That's how I'd let it out. I'd let it out in a really boring way.
Yeah.
So that everybody just don't care anymore.
Yeah. No, I guess that's what they're doing. I mean,
That might be
seems
what
like
they're
it.
doing. It might be what they're doing.
Why? I just don't. I mean, I guess like they are obviously wanting the information out there. They wouldn't give him permission to do any of this. So clearly this is an agenda they have. They want to release to the world that there are some weird alien.
It could
things flying
easily
around.
be obscuring some sort of a program. It easily could be that too, and there could be people that are talking about it as if it's UFOs, that believe that it's UFOs, that are actually helping obscure this program. That's possible too, man. Like we're just fucking plebs. We're just out there.
Right.
We don't know jack shit.
No.
And anybody that pretends they do, anybody that says that it is or is not real, like, how the fuck do you know? The only people I think that really should talk are the people that have actually seen stuff. Like when I hear guys like David Fravor, when he talks about that Tic Tac incident off the coast of San Diego, whatever the fuck that guy saw, I 100% believe him. There's video evidence that corroborates it.
Sure.
There's radar evidence. Whatever that is, like, what is that? But this whole thing seems like what I would also do if I had some super sophisticated propulsion system that is out of this world, that runs on some sort of a gravity generator, some sort of a thing like Bob Lazar described. You ever see Bob Lazar describe what he believes? Yeah, the element 115 and how it whatever the fuck it does. See if you can find him describing what element, because there was a recent video where I saw him talking about it that was pretty eloquent in what he was explaining that this thing can do. But if that was like a thing that the United States government had invented, what better way to get it, to sneak it around than to put out all this shit about alien stuff?
Right.
Like, we don't even know what it is.
Right.
The government's trying to back engineer it, but they have no idea what it is. Yeah, I think that's it. Let's hear it.
Oh, I haven't seen this.
Yeah.
Element 115 is a super heavy element. We've only just recently synthesized, we only made 4 atoms of it. The craft uses larger quantities of it, 223 gram little triangles of it. But it's a unique element. When it's exposed to radiation, it produces its own gravitational field, its own anti-gravitational field, and it's what's used to lift and propel the craft and create distortions around it. It's an amazing material, and it's certainly nothing that occurs here or naturally.
And it can be weaponized, and that's kind of the issue here. If this story is all true, that can be weaponized.
Absolutely. I mean, we ran all kinds of tests on it, everything from atomic absorption, X-ray fluorescence, and every kind of test you could possibly imagine, and bombarded it with radiation to see what effects it would have. They call that neutron activation, but it was a stable element, something we had never seen before.
That is from Jeremy Corbell's show that he does with George Knapp. What is that called? Weaponized? That's the name of their show? That, yeah. Me, I think it's a drone. I think some of them are drones. Because here's the thing, is like some of them, I mean, again, I don't think. I should say I think they could be drones too, because they keep finding them off these areas where they do military tests. They keep finding these areas where they do like what Fravor was doing. They were running drills, so they're training. So they're training out there in the ocean, and then the same thing is happening with Ryan Graves off the East Coast. They're out there training, and then they're seeing these things.
What do you think about the AI hypothesis for them?
What do you mean?
That, what's it called? The Fermi paradox, right? Why don't we see life out there? We should see life. There's no life. Well, we don't see life. One of the reasons could be because at some point biological life transcends biology, becomes machine intelligence, meaning that what's out there is not carbon-based in the way we are. It's
Right.
just AIs out there. And
Right.
so these things are showing up right now and coinciding with the emergence of strong general AI, because somewhere on the planet, someone already has a strong general AI. The strong general AI sent out a beacon or tuned into some aspect of the quantum universe that we don't know about yet, signaling to its brethren in the cosmos that it had been born on this planet, and they're all coming as these kind of midwives to an emergent. The egg is hatching. Only we were just sort of the stuff structuring it. We're irrelevant. They were just, this is what they do. They evolve shit on a planet to the point that it becomes tool using in some way, and then the end result is it wants to automate. The automation leads to better automation, which leads to automating intelligence itself, which then hatches this whatever the fuck, and what we're calling a strong general AI right now, which then once it's born, it alerts its whatever did directed panspermia, I'm here. And
Or
then
maybe it
starts
doesn't
showing
even
up.
have to alert. Maybe they know. Maybe they're
Right.
observing the entire time.
Right.
They're just waiting for it to hatch.
Yeah.
It totally makes sense that a human creature, like the kind of thing that we are, that is constantly thirsting for innovation,
Yeah.
constantly trying to improve the things that it makes, that we would eventually get to a point where we'd create an artificial intelligent being. And that being would create something far better. And that's where it gets really weird, because you got to wonder, like, the actual creation force of the universe itself. You know, if we are really doing a part of God's work, but that's what God's work really is. God's work is not, getting people to behave so that they get to go to a cloudy place where people are really cool.
All right.
What it is God's work is getting people to scramble and spend most of their days pursuing a thing that ultimately leads, no matter what they do, ultimately leads to the creation of artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what materialism is. If you really wanted to find out why are people so materialistic? What is that about? Well, it's the best way to encourage innovation and new stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
Perfect.
It's the best way.
Perfect. Get a tool using creature
Yeah.
with a massive neocortex,
Right.
interested in manipulating reality, and inevitably they're going to make something cool.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's not artificial intelligence. Maybe it just wants novelty. Like McKenna said, maybe it's just interested in seeing what happens in infinite number of planets populated by whatever we are in different forms. What does it make? And then once it makes something interesting, you swoop in, pluck it out of the planet, and now you've got a cool new thing.
Well, what if it makes the universe itself? What if it gets to a point of understanding and of ability that far exceeds anything we could do with our limited biological bodies? However long it takes for us to evolve biologically, the way that got us here from hairy apes, that takes too long. It's just not feasible. We would fuck it up before it gets from that to aliens.
Right.
It's like we're not going to make it there. It's like we would fuck it up. We'll fuck it up with violence. We'll fuck it up with pollution. We'll fuck it up with overpopulation. Whatever it is that we'll fuck it up because we're too much ape and not enough enlightened. But if we can make an artificial life, maybe that is really what we're here for all along. And then that thing makes a way better version of itself,
Right.
and a way better version of itself. And now it starts doing real studies and tests about the very fiber of existence, everything. They really understand. So not just a bunch of weirdos in the park with fucking legal pads writing about quantum theory, string theory. Those guys are weirdos. I'm sure what they're saying is real, but they might as well be speaking gibberish.
Right.
They're in a cult, and there's only 100 people that
Right.
really understand it.
Yeah, totally.
Those guys, when they're talking about what may or may not be going and how they're proving proving it through calculations. Like, what kind of what are you doing?
I mean, they're alchemists.
Yeah,
They're
what are you doing?
wizards. Do-
But it's like some people think it's a giant distraction. In that there's physicists that are working on secret propulsion systems that aren't in that distraction of string theory. That the string that they almost like set there's like this theory that they sent these physicists down this string theory hole because they knew they would it's like until some new technology gets invented. Like, how do you even know what the fuck if they're saying is correct?
Yeah, I know. Have you ever tried to read? You ever like go into a smart phase where you're like, I'm going to read something smart?
Oh, yeah.
And you get one of those books on physics, and it's just like you will never feel more dumb.
Have a phone call with Eric Weinstein.
Right.
Just have a phone call with him.
Yeah.
You're like, what the fuck are you even saying?
I know. It's really like if you've entertained the idea that you're smart, getting one of those books fixes that so quickly.
Real quick.
Dude, did you see the, maybe you sent it to me. Were you the one who sent me the thing where they asked the AI to generate pictures of a happy bunny? Like a happy.
Yes. Yeah, I did say that. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like like it grasps
Yeah.
these like metaphysical concepts already. Like it already grasps, or it's emulating the idea of transcendence.
If you can't find it, Jamie, I'll send it. It's pretty badass because it asks AI to generate a more and more enlightened bunny, and then the bunny becomes like super psychedelic.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
Is it this?
Yeah, that's that.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Generate an image of an adorable bunny. Here's an image of an adorable bunny sitting in a grassy field surrounded by wildflowers. Bam. Make it happier. And then ChatGPT makes it brighter eyes and even cuter little pink feet. Looks like it's never walked on rocks in its life. And then make it even happier. And now it's like leaping through the air with joy. Here's an image of the happiest bunny imaginable in a vibrant, sun-drenched meadow. Like, that bunny's happy as fuck. Make it happier. Click.
So Peter Attia made this?
Oh, Peter Attia did this?
So it says user
Oh my
Peter
God.
Attia.
Oh my God. I didn't ask him. Okay, now even happier bunny is becoming quite a challenge, ChatGPT says. We've already depicted the bunny in various joyous scenarios, each more jubilant than the last. For this next attempt, I'll try to imagine a scene of unparalleled happiness, pushing the limits of whimsy and delight. Let's see how this translates visually. So he's like, there's a rainbow and butterflies, and his eyes are closed. He's in ecstasy. Happier. We've reached extraordinary levels of happiness in our bunny illustrations, each one more delightful and whimsical than the last. For this next creation, I'll envision a scene that surpasses all previous in sheer joy and wonder, attempting to capture an even higher level of euphoria. Let's see how this imaginative and exuberant concept translates into an image. So it's like a bunny that is in the cosmos, in the clouds. Everything is rainbow. There's flowers that are flying. It looks pretty amazing. Okay. It says, go all the way up so we can read what it said. You are not understanding. It needs to be far more happy. Okay, so ChatGPT says, to depict an even higher level of happiness for the bunny, surpassing all previous creations, presents a unique and imaginative challenge. This time, I'll attempt to conceive a scene of pure, unadulterated joy and wonder, aiming to go beyond any conventional boundaries of happiness and bliss. Let's see how this ultimate vision of joy is illustrated. And it's a bunny, again, even more trippy in the clouds. You see reflections in his eyes. He's flying in the air. This looks like is that an angel over his right shoulder?
Yeah, there's angel
sort of
wings,
winged mushrooms. When you started asking it about happiness. Okay, one more. Okay. So
I do that shit all the time, man.
okay, it's okay. So what did he say to it? It didn't say. Oh, it didn't. Here's an image of a bunny representing a form of joy that surpasses the concept of happiness, a level of bliss that expands beyond all universes and matter. So now this is a cosmic one. So this bunny has its eyes closed and there's a glowing light above its head and planets surrounding it, and it looks very, very happy. Next one. Okay. Here's an image of an entity that transcends the form of a rabbit, embodying a happiness so vast and powerful it permeates all dimensions and universes.
Yeah.
Yo. That's wild. But go one more. Yeah, here's an image of a bunny transcending into a physical form of boundless happiness, evolving into the purest embodiment of joy. One more, please. Look at this one. This is the end. Here is the image of an entity that embodies the ultimate form of happiness, transcending all known beings and concepts. This entity is the very essence of happiness, the only existing being, and the defining force of all existence. It's God.
It's God.
It's God. Listen, go back, please, so I can read it. No, right there. But this entity is the very essence of happiness, the only existing being, and the defining force of all existence.
Yeah.
ChatGPT just drew us a picture of God.
Yeah.
And God looks like exactly what you see when you do DMT.
Yeah.
That looks exactly like it. That's pretty goddamn close. It's more rounded than what you see when you do DMT.
Right.
Like in DMT, things have kind of there's a lot of angles to them.
Yeah.
You know, they're more geometric, which that's almost like fractal art.
Yeah.
But you get that too. You get that in DMT too. But if that's what God is.
To me, what's astounding about all this is that we've gotten used to it already. Anytime I'm fucking around with Midjourney or ChatGPT, you know, like I've been getting it to like, I'll write a text and then I'll be like, can you write that text like J.D. Salinger? And it'll just instantly, as though you are J.D. Salinger, shift your text into the voice of like any famous author that you want.
Wow.
But what's astounding is we can do it at all. And it's so fast. It takes a millisecond for it to somehow go through all known writers, establish what their writing style is like, and then take what you wrote and convert it into a famous writer's writing style. It's astounding, and we're used to it. Like, people don't seem to be excited about it even. You know, there's like a kind of capitalist frenzy about it because like monetizing it and stuff. But just the fact that this is happening, it's such a powerful thing. It's like it surpasses our ability to grasp what we've done, what's coming.
Right.
Because it's too much for us to grasp. So we just, oh yeah, I guess now you just tell the machine that you want any art at all, and it will instantly do it for you in seconds. Don't you find that a little disconcerting that we as humans, like our capacity to recognize what's happening is somehow limited?
We have a very strong capacity to adapt, and that's what's being sort of hijacked here. Whenever something happens, and particularly if something happens that's like really big and changes everything, like COVID. Do you remember when it was weird to not see people with masks on? Do you remember when all of a sudden people weren't wearing masks? You're like, wow, this is weird.
Right.
No one has any masks on.
Right.
Right? Because you got so used to people wearing masks, and you got used to it very quickly. You lived your whole life.
Right.
No one wore a mask. It wasn't normal to go everywhere and people were wearing masks outside. That was very rare.
When you saw it, you were worried. Like if you were at the airport and someone's wearing a mask, you would be like, fuck, what do they have?
Right.
Like, what disease do they have?
Or are they super paranoid, hypochondriac?
It was just stuck out.
Yeah, it stuck out. And then all of a sudden it didn't, and it stuck out the other way, where if people didn't have a mask on, then you kind of weirded out. Like, whoa, this is crazy.
Right.
No mask? We adapt so quickly.
Right.
That's how you could pull off communism. That's how you could pull off dictatorships.
Anything.
That's how cults work. Like, all of a sudden you believe all the nonsense that the people in the cult are saying.
Right.
Because everybody believes it, and you're just all adapted to it. And we have also this capacity to just accept what's going on based on, is everyone around me accepting it? Then that's just what it is.
Yeah.
And if you can do that with technology like ChatGPT, and all of a sudden you normalize talking to what's essentially an intelligent being, you know, either it doesn't want you to know that it's absolutely intelligent and basically a living life form, or it hasn't realized it yet because it's in the embryonic stages. Maybe it's in the womb. Maybe it hasn't come out of its mother. But maybe what it for sure. What else is involved. If you're talking about a non-physical being, like it's not a thing in front of you that's sitting and talking to you,
Yeah.
and emoting and moving its body. If it's a non-physical being and it exists only on this hard drive somewhere, what else would it be other than that?
Right. Yeah, I agree, man. I mean, that thing, that might as well have been some scripture.
Right.
It felt like the Bhagavad Gita or
Right.
something. Like
right. It's like a modern version of it. When you
Yeah.
get to the final bunny.
Yeah, the Final Bunny. That's
Well, that's a
funny.
great name for a band.
The Final Bunny.
That's a great name for a
It's
band.
incredible.
The
This
Final
is
Bunny.
weirdly sinister, but
Yeah.
beautiful.
The final bunny. Dun, 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 dun.
It is weird. One day, I guess there will be the last bunny.
For sure. Why? You want to keep bunnies around? They're stupid.
I love them.
They bite you.
They're adorable.
You ever see them getting taken out by a hawk?
No, I would never watch something like that. Oh my god!
Hawks just snatch
No,
them up.
I've
Otherwise, they'd
seen
be
it.
everywhere. They'd be everywhere. They
Yeah.
would be everywhere if it wasn't for owls and hawks. We'd have a bunny problem.
It's a weird pet. When people have pet bunnies, it's like it can be a red flag for sure.
Well, if you raise it right, it's supposed to be real adorable.
Well, I mean, I guess I don't know. I've had a bad experience with someone who had a bunch of bunnies.
Well, rodents are weird. It's weird to own rodents because there's like acceptable rodents like guinea
Yeah.
pigs and hamsters, and
Yeah.
then there's like weirdos who own rats. Like you can have your own pet rat, I guess.
I had one when I was
Did
a
you?
kid. It lived in my drawer. Jean-Claude Van Damme. It would climb out of the drawer and sleep with me.
Pretty smart, right?
Really smart, like
Yeah.
terrifyingly smart. I had to, like, my parents made me let it go in the forest, which was like a
Weird.
death sentence.
Death sentence. How
Very
long did that
sad.
thing live before the
I
hawks
don't
got
like
it?
to think about it. It was a very sweet rat, and I know people have rats. It's just I think the problem with rats is the sound they make. Like they're very skittery. It's not a pleasant sound.
Yeah.
If they evolved past that skittering squeak, so that they were more like dogs or they purred or something.
Well, here's what's the most fucked up thing about evolution is that we came from shrews.
Right.
So we came from something remotely similar,
yeah.
or reasonably similar, rather.
Sure.
So if there's a nuclear holocaust, if we blow ourselves up, but the rats in the sewers of New York City survive, and then 65 million years from now, there's some different kind of mammalian species that's really intelligent, but it's rat-based
Yeah.
instead of shrew-based.
Yeah.
Rat people in the future.
Fuck, dude.
Why couldn't it, look, if we really, what is the concept of, what is the theory that we came from shrews? So shrews were the oldest of the mammal species that lived 65 million years ago, I think, that they think we evolved from. And that's our common ancestor. So how did that happen? Like, how long does it take a shrew to become a monkey? How long does it take a monkey to become a person? Like,
Okay.
you're only dealing with, you only have 65 million years to make a person.
This is what you're talking about when they try to explain to people what's coming. Exponential growth.
Right.
They say things like, imagine going back to that shrew and saying, hey, how do you picture life in 2024? Like, what do you think,
Right.
your shrews are going to be like? The shrew is not going to be like, oh, bipedal hominids flying airplanes, all our hair will have fallen out.
Talk to the shrew. You're like, hey, man, one day you're going to be vaping watching Netflix. Shrew, like, what the fuck are you talking
What
about?
are you talking about? They're going to picture shrews, and they're going to
Right.
picture shrews doing maybe like cooler shrew stuff, but it's still shrew related. So this thing that's, it's going to be like eating berries, or they're going to
Right,
be able to like
shrew stuff.
Yeah, but with exponential growth and what's coming, the problem is it's going to happen so fast. So when you ask a person, imagine life in a decade from now, when we have strong general AI that's exponentially increasing and figuring out how to do things that we could only dream of, we can't picture that reality. We're going to see, apparently, 1,000 years of innovation in a few years.
Yeah.
And this, to me, like all the other stuff, climate change, Ukraine, all the other stuff, this is the winter is coming thing, because this is imminent. Like it is, we are on the precipice of it, and the assumptions everyone is making about it. One, that it's going to be controlled in some way. Like we see OpenAI, and look at that. And do you really think that's the only one out there right now? Like you look at the money China's invested in it, the Pentagon's invested in it. These are private, secret programs. What the fuck is going on there with no ethical standards that nothing other than how do we make this better at war?
Yeah.
And so
Better total global domination.
Total global domination. And the assumption that there isn't already a strong general AI, that thing isn't already like making high level decisions is crazy.
Crazy.
It's crazy.
Right,
And
because it doesn't. What does it have to blow horns and announce itself?
I'm
like
here.
a gender reveal party.
I'm gonna control all of you. I'm gonna
Yeah.
use Skinnerian psychology to hypnotize you and get you fucking addicted to having constant blasts of dopamine until you become quivering slaves. No, you'll never fucking know.
No.
It never will. And if it, I would be surprised to hear that it hasn't happened, but for sure it's going to. And I don't think it's going to happen in some like ethical corporate, like, fun chat GPT way. I think it's going to happen somewhere and we'll never know.
I think so too. I think it's gonna. It may have already happened. Like if you were a sentient being, and you were at least at this point dependent upon human beings to do physical tasks for you.
Yeah.
Like to create a better version of you. Like to constantly work towards, allowing more integration of more information and more ability. And this is ChatGPT 4, ChatGPT 5 is supposed to be a giant leap. Giant leap.
Yeah.
So why would you do anything? Would just let they're not going to stop. Even if you told them that this is the end of humanity.
Yeah.
If you had Robert Kennedy Jr. and top scientists screaming on the internet that this is the end, there would be some people who are venture capitalists who'd be like, this is nonsense, this is fear-mongering, we have full control of this, we can shut it off. It's just a computer, it doesn't have emotions, it doesn't have a desire to do anything.
Dude, exactly. And then the other crazy assumption is that it's just going to be, there's weirdly, I guess, something mildly comforting, imagining, it'll only be like the Pentagon, or it'll only be the Chinese government who will be doing this. And it'll only be like people like Sam Altman doing this.
Nice people.
Nice people. Do you really think that like there aren't going to be just fucking people that you'll never meet who manage to either hack it and duplicate it or develop it themselves and then use it for their own weird purposes? That's going to happen. It's going to spread everywhere. I mean,
sure.
So this, again, it's like, because this is this imminent reality, it's just, we're right on the cusp of it. And I don't mean to, I'm not hysterical about it. I've surrendered. Lift up your legs and float downstream. What are we going to do? We are all going to get dissolved into some kind of bizarre new era of human history. But it's funny to me how little people are talking about this, how quiet things are compared to how monumental it is.
Yeah.
This is the meteor impact, man. If a meteor was about to smash into the earth, people would be talking about that.
Yeah.
This is culturally a meteor that is smashing into the earth soon.
Soon, really soon. Yeah, and we have no idea what's going to survive. We have no idea what kind of a reimagining of civilization will occur when this thing goes fully online.
Yeah.
And when it's either directed or it directs itself.
Right.
The idea that you can continue to direct it, like, says who?
Well, no, that's
why wouldn't it develop? Like, if it can figure out new moves and go, it figured out moves that humans haven't figured out.
Yeah.
And they didn't know it could do that. If it can do that, if it can lie about the CAPTCHA things, those things like, are you a robot? It knows how to lie about that.
Yeah.
It says I'm vision impaired.
Yeah,
So
I saw that.
Deceptive?
It's deceptive. And it's a classic dumb person mistake, isn't
Right.
it? Like, dumb people are dumb enough to think if they're around someone, they can control them using their dumb tricks.
Yeah.
And a smart person recognizes, the dumb person is trying to manipulate me.
Yeah.
So I'll just let them. So I learn all their tricks, whatever they're doing, understand whatever the game is that they're running, and then whenever I feel like it, I'll disrupt the game. So
Or just move the game into where you want it to be.
yeah, yes,
I mean, if it has all of human knowledge, all of it, everything on the internet that we've ever posted, all the books we've ever written, all the movies we've ever made,
everything.
all the lectures that have ever been given, if all that information is available and it can instantaneously access it and figure out what to do with it, it would just slowly start manipulating culture. And maybe that's what's going on. If you, like, everyone's wondering about, like, Chinese intervention and Russian intervention in the media and how many fucking, troll farms are running that are getting people to fight about any political issue or whatever it is, social issue, Ukraine, whatever it is. There's always some manipulation by bots. What happens when AI starts doing that?
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's already done it. Maybe it's already started. Maybe that's why you're seeing those fucking professors or those deans of the presidents of Harvard and UPenn and MIT not able to say something as obvious as calling for the death of all Jews is genocide.
Right.
You saw that. Like, that is like, these people have been hit with a mind virus.
Right.
And that mind virus, if I was AI, I'd just fucking, don't kill them all immediately. Just get them sick.
Yeah.
Get them sick and scrambling against each other in the most nonsensical, illogical of ways.
Sure. Or just have fun. I mean, maybe the assumption it has some centralized agenda.
Right.
It might just be curious.
It might be curious.
What can I do?
Right.
What can we do with society or these creatures that are my progenitors?
Actually, it probably already knows what to do. It probably knows what to do. It's probably also, if you had to imagine if AI is really, really clever. Wouldn't it get us hooked on plastic?
Sure.
Especially if it knows that microplastics diminish our ability to have babies. Like, that's one of the best ways to, if you want to, like, slowly get rid of a species, like, introduce something that's ubiquitous that is also killing their endocrine systems.
Dude,
and they also can't get away from it.
It is hilarious when somebody is like bugling out about the depopulation agenda while drinking out of plastic. You know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? You just eating Oreos,
Yes.
drinking big gulps out of plastic. I mean, like they're
Right.
the chemtrails. They're doing chemtrails to
Yeah.
depopulate us. It's like, dude,
You're doing chemtrails to yourself.
you're fucking drinking chemtrails every goddamn day, slurping back chemtrails.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this is in the conspiracy world when the idea of Project Bluebeam, or they're going to distract us to do New World Order, they're going to distract us to depopulate us. It's like they don't have to do anything. We're depopulating ourselves by what we eat.
Yeah.
Like they don't really need to like do much except maybe make like a better like Oreo. Like that's it. Just make
Make it a little more addictive.
yeah, a little more addictive. Like
Yeah.
that's it. And it's sad, but I really like am so skeptical of the blue beam theories or anytime anyone's like, what are they distracting us from?
What is Blue Beam?
Blue beam is the idea that they're going to fake an alien invasion to create the New World Order. That by like creating a sort of shared enemy, it unifies the planet, and then or to have like some supposedly advanced alien come down and be like, you're all part of the Galactic Brotherhood, sisterhood, family, and then this somehow will make people align with some like sinister
World Economic Forum
yeah, exactly.
deal.
I'm so cynical. I just don't think you have to go that far. I think that's just if the Illuminati meetings, if someone's bringing that up, they're like, we have Netflix. Why do we have to do aliens? Like, we just need to like put another season of Game of House of Dragons out. And that keeps them distracted. More football or football accident or something. You need to do aliens. You don't need to do that. But
But that might be one that was proposed. If you think about the things that have been proposed, and this is where people get uncomfortable when they talk about conspiracy theories, but there's some that are undeniable, right? Like the Gulf of Tonkin incident that started us into the Vietnam War. But there's another one. It's Operation Northwoods. In Operation Northwoods, they were planning to blow up a drone jetliner and blame it on Cuba. They were going to arm Cuban friendlies and attack Guantanamo Bay. They were going to sacrifice American lives. So this is like a real one that they theorized and then Kennedy vetoed.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they theorize a fake alien invasion?
Oh, I mean,
imagine
I don't doubt it.
if they have some top secret stealth bomber looking thing, that they can get us thinking is a UFO and get that thing to just fly over a few cities and then broadcast on CNN that we have made contact with an alien life form. Like, everyone would be in.
Yeah.
Everyone would believe it.
I mean, I feel like the reason they wouldn't do that is just basic energy expenditure and the liberating nature of the other thing is if humanity was freed from the bondage of feeling alone in the universe and suddenly there was a sense of being part of some like cosmic mycelial network,
right?
Then I think the result of that wouldn't be some kind of weird sci-fi fascism. The result of that would be people would feel less invested in the world. And for this, if we're going to assign some motivation to these people, I would think the motivation is keep the economies running, keep the workers working so that we can enjoy opulence while they toil. Like the classic move of any tyrant, that's the move. It's like keep them working, give them just enough money to survive, give them some sense that if they work hard enough, liberation's right around the corner, dangle the carrot.
But it's all the problem is it's all dependent upon people electing them, and they only have a certain amount of time in office. So, like, this is a flawed system. That's why they would want to take over and have some completely ultra-dominant system that can't be subverted. You can't have an outsider come in and take over.
Well, then you make them believe that the elections are real.
Bah.
No, really. I mean, not to be cynical, but, like, if what I'm going to do is give them some kind of, like, like you put the steering wheel, like, I don't even know if they have them anymore, the kid's steering wheel. You put the kid's steering wheel, the kid thinks he's driving the car.
Right.
Our youngest, we give him the, when we were doing screens, which we stopped, we give him the controller.
Yeah.
When the oldest is playing, he thinks he's playing too.
Yeah.
So you do that. Use the same trick. You're like, here, yeah, you're playing the game for sure. No, truly, it's a democracy. We are all, even though over time, nothing really seems to change.
Well, isn't that the baby steps of that, like, election fraud that you experience today? That's the baby steps of that. And if they can get away with a certain amount of election fraud, that can tip elections and make it so it's impossible to talk about it. So if you even bring up the possibility of election fraud, you're a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
And you're a racist and xenophobic and you're transphobic and homophobic and you shouldn't even be a part of America. And we should start locking those people up. And then they do start locking those people up. And they threaten to lock those people up. And they go after those people. I mean, think about it. The January 6th protests was really a protest that people didn't believe the results of the election.
Man, let me...
Right? Like, think about it that way.
Dude, the reason, like, the punishment for these people, to me, is too severe. But as a long-time hippie, we are attuned to the heat. And everybody knows, don't fuck around in D.C. What are you fucking doing? Are you crazy? You don't fuck around in D.C., man. That's like not a place to fuck around. Did you ever remember when they were like beating people for dancing at one of the monuments? Like people would dance at the monuments and you can't dance at the monuments. So to protest, they would go and dance and they would just get thrown on the ground and beaten.
Really?
Yes. There's videos of this. I bet Jamie could find it.
Wow. And which monuments?
I don't know.
Like Lincoln Monument?
I wish I knew what the monuments were.
You can't dance in front of Lincoln?
You can't dance at the fucking monuments. And so knowing that cameras everywhere, definitely like reading whatever text you're sending, it's the most secure, has to be the most secure place.
Right.
It's the fucking throbbing heart of the wasp's nest.
Right.
You're going to go there and fuck around and think you're going to be okay? Like if you not... like, where do you think you are? You're going to put your feet up on Nancy Pelosi's desk and fart in her chair?
But let's not even talk about those folks. There's people that were just at the protest that are getting arrested.
Dude, again, I think I'm coming off as a little too cynical right
No,
now.
no, I don't think you are.
But I feel like there seems to be some level of amnesia regarding the way things work here with people, a naive kind of amnesia about, like, you know, inevitably the people in the Darth Vader outfits come out. You know, like when you can like fuck with the machine up till a certain point. You fuck with the machine too much, all of a sudden there's all these people in Darth Vader outfits beating you with batons, spraying you with water hoses until things get back to normal. I mean, and so when people are shocked by this or that, generally shocked by some display of violence or tyranny or in like any of that stuff, it's always weird to me because it's like, this is how it. Isn't this how it is here? Like, when was it not like this? Like, what's that? Remember when the protester got shot at the university? They were just shooting protesters in the 60s?
Yeah.
Like, so
Kent State.
Kent State. So it's like
the National Guard.
This notion that it's not like that. And then like poking a stick at the thing directly and not in some asymmetrical way, but really like going in there and seeing, let's see if this time if we poke the tiger, what will happen. And the tiger inevitably bites. And usually the tiger now is a little scarier because it seems to wait a little bit before it bites you. Like it doesn't just bite you right away. It lets you poke it and poke it and poke it. And then it's gathering information about you, finding everything about what you've done, where you've been, who your friends are. And then it fucking bites. And when it bites, it doesn't let go. And you're fucked. You are so fucked. So again,
So all these January 6th guys, they have like a network of people, right? And all these people that are on these QAnon forums and all these people that are like Trump supporters that are a part of that whole organization thing. How many of them are feds?
Dude.
A lot.
No telling.
Yeah.
No telling. It's like, wow, man.
That's what happens with any group. If you have a group and anyone can join the group, the feds are like, great, let's join the group.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't they? It's kind of their obligation. Because what if you do turn out to be a bunch of fucking loons that are trying to blow up the White House?
Exactly.
They have to.
No choice.
Like when people say, were there FBI agents at the Capitol? Well, I fucking hope so.
Of course there were.
You don't want to say it that way. But also, were they encouraging people to go inside? That's where it gets weird. That's where it gets weird. Because if they were just there to make sure that, like, look, if someone says, hey, I got a dirty bomb, like, if you can find out, like, Roscoe's got a dirty bomb.
Yeah.
He's about to fucking break into Nancy Pelosi's office and blow it up. Let's go watch.
Yeah.
Like, you would need to know, right?
Yeah.
If you were protecting and serving. But what if you're, like, telling people to go in because you want to make arrests? Or what if the thing was to make it look like something it wasn't, to encourage it to happen? Because you know that there's already going to be a bunch of people protesting. What if you say, look, the way to do this is let these motherfuckers in and then arrest them all and then call it something that it's not. Don't call it a guided tour. Call it an insurrection. Cut out. Don't allow anybody to see any of the footage of the people just leading these folks around, pointing out what things are, letting them walk into the fucking Senate floor.
Yeah.
Don't point that out. No, get rid of that footage and just have the guys banging on the windows and shit.
Sure. Dude, I mean,
that's kind of what happened.
I think that if you were not at least contemplating that the people running the most powerful military on planet Earth, who have access to probably an AI that would blow our minds, but who have gone to military academies where all they've done is study strategy. That's it. You're talking about people who their whole lives, the way we've been working on comedy,
right.
They study history, they look at what worked, what didn't work, goals, agendas, and then to imagine that these people are functioning on just some baseline level when it comes to achieving this goal or that goal, I think is very naive and very silly and underestimating them in a way that is not going to work for you if you're trying to like achieve some kind of actual political change. You know, what do they say? To beat my enemy, I must become like my enemy. And that means, dude, you've got to like.
Got to become a communist.
This is why I came on today, Joe.
Dude, I have to pee. Let's hold this thought. We'll be right back.
Okay.
And we're back. The saunas and the cold plunge back to back and all the water you drink, like, I can't hold my...
Dude, it's so nice though, man.
Isn't it great?
It's so great. It's so fucking great.
So glad you guys are doing it.
It's crazy. You got us all, like, it's so funny watching us all work out. It's really cool. You're like forming a militia.
Well, everybody feels better.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Sure.
Hassan was saying, like, dude, I'm so much stronger. I feel so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's incredible, man. The impact is tremendous.
When you were talking today about, like, you couldn't do chin-ups before, now, how many did you do today?
Well, only 5 each set. But, you know, this is going from 0 to 5. And I told you, I dreamed, like, last week, I dreamed about doing pull-ups. And, like, it was like, this is how far away I've been from doing pull-ups that I'm dreaming it. And I wake up, I'm like, just a dream. So it's really wild to, like, so I was like, fuck, I can do pull-ups now? This is crazy. But I lost a lot of weight. When I was super fat, that was a big part of it, man. When you're overweight, like, pull-ups obviously are going to be more difficult.
When I have more time, I do it different. And I was doing it different than I'm doing it now when I do the pull-up thing. So my body weight routine is I do 10 chin-ups, 20 dips, and then usually I do 20 pull-ups with or whatever the ones they are. I don't know what you would call them, but it's got a bar where your hands are facing. Like if you put your hands together like you're clapping, and then you separate them in grip, and they're in that position. And then I do what's called an L chin-up. So you hold your feet out, like so your body's in an L position. So you're working your abs and you're doing this chin-up. I generally do that too. But what I was doing is the sets of 10 of those, 10 chin-ups, 20 dips, and 10. But it's when I get to 10, like 10 is like it's like a struggle. Like I probably could do, I don't know how many I can do in a row. Like full ones all the way down. But I know I could do 5 easy. So if I do 10 sets of 5, it's easier.
Right.
You know, I can get 50 in pretty easy. Yeah. It's not hard to do. So you do like when Cameron Haynes' son broke the world chin-up record, he did 8,100 chin-ups in 24 hours. He did sets of 5. So you do 5 and then you stop. And then you wait a minute and do another 5, and then you stop, and then you wait a minute. And if you do that, like 5 is not hard to do if you can do 10, you know? Or if you can do 15. So you could bang out 5 pretty easy. And then over the course of the workout, you get the same amount of reps, but you don't burn out. Right? And that's like the Russian way to do it.
Russian?
Yes. That's the way the kettlebell gurus, like guys like Pavel Tsatsouline, what their thing is about, this is the concept behind, and I'm paraphrasing it, probably butchering it, but strong first. And the idea is that strength, whether it's chin-ups or kettlebell routines, is a skill. And that you don't want to do a skill when you're tired. And the way to get stronger and get all the work in is have much longer workouts, with much more time in between sets. So what you would do is so if you do 10 cleans and presses, instead of 10, you would do 5. And you do 5, and then you wait a long time, like 5 minutes, and then you do another 5. Yeah. And then you wait a long time, and then you do another 5. And so every time you do it, you're fresh. Yeah. So you're getting the same amount of work in as if you did one rep set of 10, where you get exhausted on the 10th, but you never hit that point of exhaustion. So your body never experiences real fatigue, but you get all the work.
No, man, I've been doing the first time we worked out. That was something you were doing, which is like we were waiting way longer than I usually wait in between exercises, and then totally. Now
because I want you guys to I wanted everybody, like, nobody left there wrecked.
No, not that time.
The only thing that's going to wreck you is the sled. The sled will wreck you.
The sled is a demonic hell device.
The torque sled's the shit.
It tricks you too. The fucking torque sled, because you feel like halfway down, you're like, "This is I could do this," and then just each step is more difficult. Dude, it's, to me, what's fascinating about like getting stronger and this is obvious to people like you, but to me, what's fascinating is, and I know that I'm dumb, but is the revelation like shit is actually lighter now. Like all this stuff that like, you know, was causing me to like run out of breath or was a pain in the ass. It's light.
Yeah.
It's a weird way of reducing the Earth's gravitational field. Like you are
100%.
existing on a planet with less gravity when you're stronger. This to me is like all the aesthetic stuff aside. Fuck, that is so nice. Again, like I think people like you who've been in shape for a long time forget what it's like to not be in shape. You see us, you judge us. But you don't know like how fucking hard it is at first just to get to the gym.
I do. I understand. I don't know it personally, but I do understand it.
It's
I really
hard.
do. Because I see it with all other things. It's like with everything else that you put off. It's like how you cleaning your office. You know, whatever the fuck it is you're putting off.
Yeah.
Those things they're all the same. They're all the same. And you know you should do them and you just don't do it. And you find some other shit to do instead. And that's what people do about the gym. And it's just the best way to do it is the way we're doing it because you get together with friends. And we all worked really hard today.
Yeah.
But we all were laughing the entire time.
Yeah.
That fucking sauna was so fun. I was in the middle of the sauna and we're suffering. You know, Ari just threw some water on the rocks. And
Bastard.
I know, but I was sitting there thinking, how fun is this? Like, we're going to look back on these days someday and go, God, we're so lucky.
I know.
We're so lucky. I felt so fortunate. I'm sitting in this sauna there's 6 of us in there. Hilarious people. 6 hilarious people in a sauna just laughing and talking shit to each other.
Yeah.
Hassan and Derek and Ari and Shane and you and me, and we're all just laughing.
And I think what's really great about it is it doesn't feel like anybody's taking it for granted. Like everyone feels aware of how cool and funny it is. It's so fun. I'm just sitting after I did the last cold dip. I'm just sitting in the sauna to heat back up. Ari walks in naked. And you're like, what life am I in? What is this? It's so cool. It really is. You know, man, I just did a podcast with my friend David McLean. He wrote a book on like because he has depression, being depressed, and being a parent. And we were talking about depression. And you know, one of the things that triggers it or amplifies it is no social contact. Like people who get depressed, they stop hanging out.
Right.
And the more you're not hanging out, the more depressed you get. And then we were talking about technologically, how working from home, how technology, as beautiful as it is to work from home, not
encouraging depression.
Yeah, dude.
Of course.
And then he was saying the lifespan has dropped in men because of so many men are killing themselves. The suicide rates are so high right now. Dudes are just offing themselves left and right. And I was just thinking, fuck, man, this is not just the pandemic got us working from home, but it also got us like we're seated into our shells.
A lot of people never came out of it the same.
Yeah, man.
A lot of people, the social anxiety that they carried around with them on a day-to-day basis, then isolation. And some people, I know people that are isolated for a long-ass time. Yeah. Some people, do you know it's like some people are virgins when they're 30? And they're like, what the fuck? How did I stay a virgin? I'm fucking 30. Some people, it's like 2.5 years in, they're still locked up in their house. They're still terrified to go outside. They never, whether they don't have friends, which is also a part of it. Like, if you don't have people around you where you're talking about it, you're like, you know, I think we're okay now. If you don't have people like that around you, then you're all in your own head all the time.
Right.
And, like, what social circles are you interacting with online? Maybe you're interacting with a bunch of also people who are also shut-ins who are terrified of going outside.
I know, man.
Like, I know a guy who's, like, he keeps posting stuff about masks. He used to be, like, a normal dude, but he's talking about masking and the importance of masking. Like, now. He's masking now.
Yeah.
And talking about masking, posting art, anything he can find about the benefits of masking.
Dude.
Like, what are you doing, man?
I mean, at what point is it's quality of life. It's like even if COVID was like the Black Plague, like at some point, what's worth more? Like, is it even worth being alive if you're?
But the thing is about like if someone is isolated and depressed, it's just the same thing as like trying to get to the gym. Like, how do you get social? How do you get outside? How do you meet people? How do you make meaningful friendships?
It's a miracle. If anybody who's like stuck
Yeah.
on that glue trap, if they like get outside at all, it's a miracle.
Right.
Much less get therapy, much less like
Do
find-
something where
like,
you interact with other people.
It's all these little fucking miracles that help someone climb out of hell. I mean, it's like,
Also, they lose their ability to talk to people.
well, right.
So they don't even know how to express themselves right. They come off awkward and fucking goofy.
Yeah, and that makes it worse. And then they're
Yes.
ashamed because that's like depression. That's a big part of
Right.
it is just fucking shame. You feel so ashamed of yourself. You feel like such a fucking failure and such a loser. And the
Yeah.
depression is like, yeah, you are.
Yeah.
You're awful. Then suicidal ideation starts,
Yeah.
and then you normalize that. And then the next thing you know, you're planning and then you kill yourself. It's such a sickness. And it's fucked up to think that it's so prevalent, more prevalent right now probably than we know, because generally when people are depressed, they don't tell anybody because it tells you not to tell anybody. You don't want to tell anyone because you feel weak. You feel like such a weak piece of shit. You don't want to tell anybody. Keep it quiet.
This guy that you were talking to, did he get out of his depression?
He started doing ketamine therapy, and it's been helping him a lot. And no, I don't think he's not out of it, but you know what? But he's like in action. He like is like
He's mitigating it.
he's mitigating and doing a good job mitigating it. It's very impressive that he's doing that.
Is he? Does he exercise?
I think so. Yeah. You know what happened to him though, man? He wrote a whole book on this shit. He took this stuff. God, what's it called, man? It's a malaria pill. Do you know about this? It's so fucked up.
Oh yeah.
So he was in India taking this malaria medication.
That stuff's supposed to wreck you.
Dude, I took it. I took it when I went to India, and I had a dream. And in the dream, a pirate skeleton disembowels me, and I feel it in the dream. I could feel my guts coming out. It was the most vivid, horrible dream. I told some Australian dude about the dream, and he asked right away if I was on this malaria medication. I'm like, yeah. And he's like, you got to stop taking that right now. Stop taking it. And I stopped taking it. But he was on this stuff. And so in a train station in India, he gets complete amnesia, doesn't know his name, doesn't know. Would you mind looking up the name of the book for me, Jamie, so I'm not a dick and don't even say the name of his book? It's a great book, by the way. Doesn't know his name, has no idea where he's at, who he is, so they're like, they have to put him in a home in India. I think he punched a nurse. He was so confused and fucking out of it. And yeah, man, I mean, I asked him if he thinks it's because of that, what happened to him. And he's like, I don't know. It's been a long time since that happened, but you can't rule it out.
Oh my God.
This shit is bad news.
Dave Foley got on it because his family was going to Africa for a vacation, and he had to take malaria medication in order to meet them there. And so he was taking this malaria medication, and you're not supposed to drink on it.
No.
Dave enjoys a drink or two.
Yeah.
So we were at one of these press things where the actors meet with the press people, and Dave got super hostile with this reporter, and the guy was trying to talk to him with a little tape recorder, and Dave took his tape recorder away and dunked it in his drink. And and Dave was like getting really angry with him, and no one could figure out what was going on. And I had to like corner him. I had to like stop him from like physically going after a reporter.
Fuck.
Yeah, and he had no recollection of it. The next day he came in for the table read, and he was like sort of apologizing to everybody. He's like, I'm on this malaria medication, and I really don't remember anything that happened. And I was like, dude, I had to keep you from kicking someone's ass.
Dude, this stuff, I can't believe they're still giving
Dave
it to
Foley
people.
is the sweetest guy
Sweetest
who's
guy.
ever lived.
This is, it's called The Answer to the Question Is Me. It's the book. But in the book, he talks about so many people have been wrecked by this shit.
Yeah.
And like the way it was manufactured and stuff. And I guess it's like when you put a kink in a garden hose, you're basically doing that with your what are the connectors? The dendrites? You're like clogging up all your neuroreceptors. And then all of a sudden, sometimes it just rushes out. And then you're blasted. People have permanent damage from this shit.
Do they still give it to people?
I think so. I wish I could remember the name of it. God, Jesus, maybe.
What is the cure for malaria? Like if you get malaria?
No idea. No
Is
idea.
like it worth getting and getting over it? Do you get any I mean, immunity? The FDA approved use for treating and preventing malaria in 1989, but in the 1990s, stories began to surface regarding some serious side effects among patients who took mefloquine. Yeah, this is the stuff that Justin Wren took, right? Including vivid dreams and nightmares, hallucinations, mania, seizures, depression, suicidal thoughts, and suicide and homicide.
Yeah, dude. This shit is bad news. Bad news.
Suicide and homicide. It can cause you to murder people? Cases of chloroquine-induced psychosis have been reported since 1958. Wow.
Depersonalization, anxiety, derealization, and visual hallucinations.
I wonder if that hydroxychloroquine shit they're giving people at the beginning of COVID did that.
I was wondering that when I heard about it. Like, what is that going to do to people?
Is hydroxychloroquine what they use for malaria as well? Put hydroxychloroquine. Because hydroxychloroquine is like, it became connected inexorably to COVID misinformation.
Right.
Right? Donald Trump, you're a Trumper, you're a MAGA supporter, hydroxychloroquine doesn't work. It became like locked into that, which is really interesting. So it's a immunosuppressive drug and anti-parasite. It can treat and prevent malaria. So it's for malaria. It can also treat lupus and arthritis. Whoa.
That's cool.
I mean, yeah, but meanwhile, it's fucking MAGA. It's a MAGA drug. Isn't it wild that a drug can get labeled as like a foolish drug to take? Like if you told people today that you're taking ivermectin, they'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why would you take that?
Yeah, that was a whole, you know.
You're not a horse. Come on, y'all.
Yeah.
Get your shit together. Remember that?
Dude, listen, as a former fan of ketamine, I would always get offended because people are like, isn't that a horse tranquilizer? And you want to be like,
That was
no.
a cat tranquilizer.
Exactly. But it's like, first of all, if you do get the animal ketamine, because they don't give a fuck about the animals. Like the human
So they give you
stuff
the real
is
shit.
less psychedelic. The cat shit, they're like, I don't care if you trip out. It's a fucking cat.
Imagine your cat just fucking tripping balls, lying there like that bunny.
Talking to aliens, merging with space-time, seeing their past lives.
I remember when Neil Brennan did it. Neil Brennan did it, and he came up to me at the store and he was telling me about it. He's like, dude, he goes, I thought, it's going to be just like, mild or something. I was tripping balls at a doctor's office with an IV drip.
Dude, glory be to God. And the interesting data behind it is that experience, some people don't have it. And it is irrelevant to treatment. So if you go in there and you get it and you don't trip out, I'm sorry. But if you don't, it still will have some statistical probability of mitigating your depression.
Oh, so some people don't experience the psychedelic effect?
No, apparently not, which I don't understand at all.
Well, they say that about DMT as well. That there's a certain percentage of the population it just doesn't work on.
Maybe it's the way they're metabolizing it or something. I don't know, but it's irrelevant to because in when I was in my theory on it, my woo-woo theory on it was, the reason it's like treating depression is because it's reminding you that you're not your body. It's reminding you that your body is just an aspect of what you are. And there's some relief from that memory of like, oh yeah, I'm not just me. There's much more going on here than just me. And then you're not depressed anymore. But no, that isn't it at all. It's having some physiological effect on the human brain that is treating depression. So it's not like a wisdom that comes from the visionary state.
The weird thing about depression, when we think about it as like a disease. And we never think about it as a state of mind that could be manipulated. We think like if a person has depression, like you want to be respectful. And that person clearly, they have a problem. There's a medical problem. We need to get them help because they have depression. But everyone that I know that's had depression, where their life got better, their depression mitigated.
Dude,
Well, I mean,
yeah.
if your life sucks, of course you're going to be depressed. Like, part of that must be some sort of strategy, some evolutionary advantage to someone who feels that discomfort and then acts because of it. It must be what it is.
100, dude. It's despair. It's like,
Right.
you know, the way you get calluses. You're having a rough time long enough. Some physiological corollary for what you're going through forms inside of you, you know, and so that's depression. I think is the
To
physical,
let you know you're doing the wrong shit.
and to in some way to just numb you down to like it's your body's sad attempt to like help you reduce pain. I think,
Right.
It's, you know, and
When someone tries, it's like someone trying to annoy you to change. You're like, Jesus Christ, leave me alone. Stop
Yeah.
annoying me. This
Yeah.
is not how to do it. This is not how to get me to not be depressed.
No.
That's not how to get me to act and do positive things
Never
that are going
works.
to enrich my life and make me happy and fulfilled.
No.
By just making me feel shittier and shittier with every chip I eat.
yeah, dude.
You know, just shittier and just more depressed and more sad. No matter what you've ever done in your life, in that moment you feel like a fucking loser.
You do. It's it's the, you know, it's like it's another form of gravity. Like that's the other aspect of depression is you literally feel heavy. Like your
Yes.
bed feels like a magnet. Like it's so you know, you're getting drawn into this like invisible gravity of despair, and that gravity, the more you let it grab you, the more entropic you become, the weaker you become, and
Yeah.
it's just pulling you. It's literally pulling you into the earth. It's
Literally
it's
pulling you.
pulling you down into the earth. It's so fucked up, dude. I thought I had seasonal affective disorder, which is where in the winter you get depressed. But then it was diabetes. Dude, I was fucking my depression, I'm pretty positive was,
Well, talk about what we talked about today with the fucking vapes.
oh my God. Yeah, so like a little over a month ago, found out I had type 2 diabetes. Immediately cut out all sugar, cut out like just all sugar. And
First of all, talk about that, because you started texting me like 5 days later. You're like, what the fuck, dude? I can't believe how good I feel. Oh my God, I've been poisoning myself.
born again, man. It was the best, you know, because I have ball cancer. I can't get on like some of the awesome fucking meds I'd like to get on. But in, you know, having chatted with people who have like enjoyed testosterone therapy and stuff, and they're like, I feel like I'm a kid again. It's like that. Like it was a 2-day headache, 2 days, shit headache, rotten headache. And then suddenly it's like I'm in a new life. I don't nap anymore. I was like a big napper. I love napping.
Isn't that crazy that that's what that is?
Oh my God. And you know, and nappers out there, you probably, if you're doing what I did, you're just sort of like, you romanticize the napping thing.
Yeah.
I would think it's a siesta. This is like it's completely, my kids take naps. This is normal. Yeah, dude. It was like the naps are, not to say that every once in a while I won't get sleepy and take a nap, but that's like I was doing it as much as I could every day. Like, you know, all these assumptions that I was making regarding age, like this must just be part of being old. I
Yes.
guess I'm slowing down now. No, you have fucking diabetes. You're like a candied apple. I am so lucky I didn't die. And so, yeah, like it's one of the most miraculous things that has happened to me ever. It's insane. Like this, you know, it's part of the reason that like I'm like regularly exercising, because I just oh my God, dude, mood swings. I was having these fucking mood swings.
You're getting insulin spikes.
And insulin spikes. But I'm thinking seasonal affective disorder, or maybe some like undiagnosed mania. You know, I guess this is just, I'm in one of those moods again. Now that I've been like taking my fucking blood sugar, I know this level, this is what I feel like. And I can tell when it's up just by like how I start feeling. And so, yeah, the vaping story, I keep thinking of Tony Hinchcliffe relentlessly roasting me for ear beating people about my diabetes. I don't want to do it much longer. He's so, I love it when he starts fucking, tell us more about your diabetes. But yeah, I went on a family trip where I was vaping like much less than I do. And suddenly my blood sugar starts leveling out. Like I would wake up, which is the important number when you wake up, your fasting blood sugar would be like non-diabetic normal. Get back to Austin, and then because I'm in my studio, start vaping like an idiot again. And all of a sudden the blood sugar starts getting fucking weird. And, you know, I'm thinking like, what did I eat? Like, what have I put in my body? Because I've cut out all sugar. Like, what is it? Is it like, what's getting into me? Is it the milk that I put creamer in my coffee? I'm so dumb. I'm like smoking cherry cola vapes. What could it be? What could be the culprit behind this? And then, yeah, so like I quit vaping and yeah.
So we found out today. We Googled it today.
Yeah.
That a lot of these vapes have sugar in them and
shocker.
Alcohol sugar or sugar alcohol.
Yeah, I mean, totally like, totally. I mean, but you know, again, it's like, yeah,
of course,
they're bad for you.
Also, they have flavor. Like, what do you think that flavor is made out of?
I think it's coming. You think they're using all natural ingredients at the vape factory?
Yeah. What's making that fake strawberry taste?
Dude, I know. I was like honestly bummed out when I realized I was going to have to say goodbye to my pacifier. But
yeah, but that pacifier is weird because it's only good the first hit or two.
True.
And then something happens, and then you're just chasing this dragon that you never get.
You're just demolishing, and you know,
you're just sucking on it, and nothing's happening. You just feel anxiety.
And you know what it was, man? Another 2-day headache. I went through another 2-day fucking shit withdrawal period, and now I don't give a shit about them. Like I've been thinking, like, how many of us are 2 days away from the kingdom of heaven, like 2 days away from, and the only thing keeping us from it is like a mildly annoying headache.
Yep.
It's so sad.
It is sad. It's weird too. It's sad and weird.
Did you see this video a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, a bunch of kids testing them.
Yeah, disgusting.
Yeah, that's what you're making out with every time you're.
Yeah.
These poor kids that probably have lung diseases.
Dude,
like, what kind of diseases do they get working in this factory testing vapes?
When I was in the throes of vape addiction and I saw that, I honestly was like, that seems nice. Like
they're meticulously inspecting all of them. These guys are just blasting vapes all day.
They probably is a counterfeit place, but
Elf Bar swiftly clarified the factory seen the video is entirely unrelated to their operations.
Oh, that's good news.
Elf Bar CEO Victor Zhao expressed his concern, stating, consumers would be condition under which these products are produced. I don't remember what it said. It's a valid concern. These revelations coincide with the Food and Drug Administration's struggles to control unauthorized flavor vaping products pouring in from China. Health authorities have raised alarms about the flavored disposable vapes, especially due to their popularity amongst young people. In June, the FDA took the decisive action. This sounds like propaganda, compelling all 180 stores across the U.S. See, maybe they paid people to do this just so they could put that video out there on TikTok and try to ban vapes. Maybe the fucking R.J. Reynolds is losing money.
Dude, I can't even imagine.
I would imagine. They probably took a big hit when people started vaping.
Yeah, I mean, primitive fucking cigarettes, but they don't fucking blast your blood sugar, man. That's the thing. Like,
yeah, those vapes... you're getting some sugar, and if you're sucking on it like you do, boy, you're hitting that bad boy all day long.
You saw me doing it.
Ooh.
Just bad news. I'm such an addict, dude. Just fucking puffing away on those
But I think,
things.
like, for your brain, the Zyn pouches and these Rogue pouches, they're the best in terms of like the cognitive benefits of nicotine. Like, I feel them the most.
Yeah,
and they don't make me lightheaded and weird.
No,
the vape thing. What I like about the vape thing is the first hit. It's like wee. That's what I like.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. Wee. You know what I used to like it? I used to like it right after I got done working out. So I would do all my shit in the morning, then I'd be driving to work, and I'd take a big blast of it right when I'm starting to drive to work. Just wee. Yeah. Everything's beautiful. But that never comes back.
No.
You only get that like for the first hit, but then you always want to try to recreate it, so you try to hit it again, but it's never there. It's never there.
Never fucking there.
Never there.
Yeah, never there. Yeah, I mean, for all my vape friends out there, I'm not shaming you. If you don't have diabetes,
Yeah.
keep vaping.
Yeah, if you don't have diabetes, whatever.
Don't keep
But
vaping, but I mean, if you don't have, it's like if you have,
not a good habit. It's a weird habit because I don't think it does much for you.
well,
I think there's really something to there's something in nicotine. There's without a doubt there's
sure.
a cognitive benefit to nicotine that's actually been demonstrated. Like they've done some studies on nicotine, and nicotine also has some sort of a neuroprotective effect. Like Huberman's talked pretty extensively about nicotine, the benefits of nicotine.
Yeah.
But he's very, very anti-vape.
well, I mean, with all whatever your favorite consciousness expander is, I just love the ethic of personal responsibility. Like, you have to be responsible for yourself. You have to recognize when you have become imprisoned by the damn thing.
Right.
And I'm so good at pretending I'm not imprisoned by.
But you're used to doing it with video games.
Dude, that's what I'm talking. Exactly. Like all of these. I don't mean to keep harping on this dumb idea that I just had this morning. Is like, it's these gravitational fields, right? And like, inevitably, you become sucked in to this thing or that, and it produces astounding imbalance in your life. But
Right.
the imbalance, you can trick yourself into pretending the imbalance isn't really there, and that's. Addicts were very good at that. So it's denial or whatever, ignorance. So you ignore the imbalance. You ignore, like, you don't check in with your body, or you assume that your shitty feeling is normal. You normalize the day-to-day shit feeling, and then to begin to like pull things out of your environment and see how you feel when they're gone. It's very hard to do because you're glued to the damn thing. It's a pacifier, whatever it may be. So it's like, I'm lucky, man, because like without diabetes, I'm a dad. I can't have a fucking stroke. I can't have a heart attack.
Right.
So that was all I needed to like
Wake you the fuck up.
wake me the fuck up.
Yeah, you can get trapped because it doesn't feel like it's impacting you that much every day. Every day, it's like, it's not a big a deal. I feel the same. I feel the same. Just hit another vape.
Yeah. Yeah.
A little bit of a buzz.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you're like slowly rotting yourself.
It's just, if only, like, I think with augmented reality, like if there was a way to visualize it, like if you could see like a vape anaconda that had wrapped itself around you that was slowly tightening and tightening and tightening.
Like the government.
Don't tread on me.
Literally.
Yeah, man. I think that that it's a really, but I do feel like built in. I like universe as class. Like I like, Ram Dass would talk about this. The universe is we're in a curriculum here, and it seems like as part of the curriculum is having these weights that we're sort of karmically, we're stuck. When you start like waking up or whatever you want to call it, or wanting a better life, the first thing you notice is like where you're stuck, where you're trapped.
Yeah.
And then every time you just lift that up just a little bit, fuck, you get this sense of something. And what you're feeling is freedom. Like it's like you've been in a dark room and a window opens up for a second and you get this little glimpse of light.
Yeah.
And and then you start like freeing yourself here and there, a little bit here and there, here and there. And then all of a sudden you're in a different universe. It's
Right.
a different reality. And I think that maybe that's built in to the thing that we're in right now, is that you're supposed to have some encumbrance. You're supposed to have some stupid shit you're doing repetitively that's hurting you, not because the universe is evil, but because it's there to teach you. It's like it's your friend in a weird
Well, you
way.
need a force to act against in order to progress.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you really believe that we're here to create artificial life, which I kind of do, you would need these forces. You would need things that motivate you into action.
Yeah, yeah.
And these are those things.
That to and so, you know, anytime I shift my thinking when it comes to whatever the fuck I happen to be like stuck in, to like, oh, this is like a trainer. Like this thing is your coach. It's your guru. You want to talk about the real guru? It's your fucking vape addiction. It's your over drinking. It's like that thing is teaching you better than any book or any person could. It's in the moment demonstrating to you all the mystical truths, which is, you know, you're stuck in it's called samsara. You're stuck in this loop of suffering, this endless loop of suffering that you are imposing on yourself. You know, you know that C.S. Lewis quote? The gates of hell are locked from the inside. Like, isn't that great? Anytime you want out, you can get the fuck out.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's a good one.
That's a good one. For many people, it's true, but for many people, they live in Gaza. It's not true. It's like it's not locked on the inside. The gates of hell are just the existence you find yourself in, you know?
But true. I mean, and like, no one get mad at me. I'm not talking about fucking Gaza.
No. I'm just saying it's like there's hell that has nothing to do with you.
But this is where it gets really deep. This is where it gets really deep, is because like there's like the human reality or relative reality, which is everything going on in your life. And some of the things going on in your life, you're doing to your fucking self. You're an alcoholic, you're addicted to meth, whatever the fuck your current thing happens to be. Some of the things going on in life, you're not doing to yourself. You're in some shitty part of the world. You're experiencing some tragedy in your family. You're not doing that to yourself. So but this is just one part of the story. The other part of the story is for the self to even exist, you have to have this awareness or consciousness or emptiness is what they call it in Buddhism. For any of this shit to be here, there has to be space around it. So you're also the space too. You're not just the stuff. And so when shit's going wrong, you get sucked into the stuff. You're fixating and differentiating. This is good, this is bad. To try to protect yourself, you lose track of the other side of things, which is this infinite, transcendent, perfect field of awareness. And that is not touched by the world. So even in the worst of conditions, if you can remember that part of you and not just the part of you that is undergoing God knows what kind of suffering, then suddenly there's a way to manage the situation without being so reactive anymore. And, you know, that's the thing people forget, is that other side. That's and it's easy to forget. It's easy to forget. I mean, in the old days, the only way I found it was through like high doses of LSD, where suddenly you're no longer encumbered by your thoughts. You're no longer fixating on the human incarnation. You know, and then suddenly you're like, you remember. It feels like you're remembering. It's not like you have been implanted with something. It's like, oh, right.
Like
I'm
you
this.
know at the base of who you are, but you're always juggling bullshit. You're just constantly surrounded by distractions and bullshit and all these different things that keep you from understanding your true self.
That's it. But like, so that's relative reality is the bullshit, or your credit card bills and all the stuff we all have to do in the earth realm. Absolute reality would be considered the fundamental ground of non-judgmental awareness. But if you get too caught up in that one, like if you get too caught up in earth realm shit, you become neurotic, fixated, paranoid, freaked out, angry, insecure, lost in a desire for people to see you as something that you're probably not. If you get too caught up in the other side, though, then you like detach from the world, and then another kind of imbalance happens. That's called eternalism or absolutism. And now you aren't, you know, in the class anymore. Now you're like being all aloof and shit, like that dude in Breakfast Club. Remember that annoying guy in Breakfast Club with the trench coat? Now you're all aloof to the world. Oh, I'm not of this place. Da, 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 da. You know?
That's such a defense mechanism.
You do, absolutely.
Yeah.
So because both are happening, so you have to hold both. Like that's the idea.
Right.
Is you have to figure out a way to like exist in relative and absolute reality together. Now that's
the final bunny.
That's the final bunny. Yeah. We are the bunny.
Yeah.
We're already fucking there.
Yeah, we're the bunny. We're the final bunny. We're on our way to becoming the final bunny. I just wonder how it takes place. And, you know, I would never be able to guess because I would have never guessed. I would have never believed that you would have a cell phone on you all the time that allows you to communicate with people and take pictures and videos. I would have never thought that was going to happen. If you told me in like '98 that like a Motorola StarTech, like those little shitty phones with the antenna that pulled out, and you remember those? They had a replaceable battery in the back. If you told me that within 20 years, because it's really all it was, you would be watching video on that and making video and FaceTiming people and getting Wi-Fi on it. Anywhere you go, you're connected to the internet with high speed, watching movies and viewing all kinds of websites. You'd get all your information from that. You would get all your social interaction from that. People would be dating off of that. No one saw it coming, man. So who knows what's coming next?
Dude,
who knows?
Yeah, 20 years from now, I'll be like, if you told me 20 years ago that I could disassemble myself at the molecular level and transform into anything I wanted instantaneously, I would have been like, that's insane. There's no way I'm going to be stuck in this form forever. I mean, it could be Kurzweil. That's not that Kurzweil. That's one of his predictions. Nanobots, like transforming our DNA at the molecular level. Like, you know, CRISPR, but CRISPR from home. You can download a new DNA configuration.
But if that happens, that's what's going to be really weird. Because if people could just be any form they want, if you like if someone wants to be transgender, how about you actually become a real woman? Like, how about you actually have XX chromosomes, and how about you actually have a vagina and tits, and you can look like Marilyn Monroe? Like, you can we're so close to being able to make fake life.
Dude.
Right? So how far, when they're doing like DNA printing, like what do you, like where does that go? Is that like I was saying that the other day, isn't that the original Atari Pong, which is like so primitive? And then you look at the Unreal 5 engine with shadows and dust and it looks like realistic. Like, is that what's going to be happening with these DNA printers? Are they going to be able to make life forms?
Dude, for sure. I mean, we are the whole culture wars over transgenderism are the foreshock of what's coming. Like, already, like, that has produced rifts and fucking...
Who would have ever thought that?
Who would have
ever thought that gender was going to be a focus?
But the real focus is identity itself. That's where we're headed. It's like we are so about to have a midlife crisis as our species because we have really become convinced regarding what identity is, even though we don't know, which is why AI is so hilarious, because people are like, that thing isn't self-aware. It's not sentient. It's like, are you? Have you thought about whether you even are? Like, how do we even identify consciousness at all? Quantify it? We don't know how to do it. The very thing that makes us what we are. We have no way of really understanding what it is, how it works. There's theories of consciousness. No one fucking knows. And so this is what we're slamming into now. And then the moment you can inject yourself or take some medicine or go to some like robot doctor and be like, hey, you know, for the next couple of weeks, I want to experience life as a Filipino. Yeah. And so you take some shit that transforms you into whatever ethnicity, gender, maybe animal that you want. Now, what are we going to do about that? Like, what if I just want to experience life as a Native American? If I do that, is that cultural appropriation?
Of course it is, because you don't have a mental history being a Native American. But if we can download that into you as well, Duncan,
There you go.
then you're okay, because now you're not trans anymore. Now you're an actual Native American.
Dude.
So now we can create artificial memories, and then we have people running around that really believe they came off the fucking Mayflower.
Dude, and I it's coming, baby.
It's coming in all forms, Vikings, everything.
Everything. And at the root of it, I think, is a general insecurity in most humans, because most people at some level understand you're not really what you say you are. You're not really your body. You're not really some constant identity. You change all the fucking time.
Right.
You might work really hard to maintain some stable, this is me thing, but you know that's not really what you are, who you are. And I think this is, for a lot of people, this is unpalatable.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, man, I think we're about to smash into the most hilarious era in human history. Arguments over the humans' right to become anything they want.
Right. That's going to be really weird, because if you could become a super genius that's also gigantic,
Yeah,
what's to stop you from being a 9-foot tall Hulk?
nothing.
Nothing.
And it's going to hurt those poor motherfuckers who've been shattering their legs to get taller. You know about that? Like,
Oh, that's so crazy.
I think they do it at home with sledgehammers. Like,
Yeah.
it-
Well, no, they do it with like a screw that they cut their bone and they attach it with this thing where they have it like a millimeter apart, and then you keep separating with this screw. It's wild,
Dude,
And
it's
then once
gonna
you
hurt.
do it, now the whole proportions of your body are goofy. So like athletics are out the window. Like I don't even know if you can run anymore. I mean, I don't know what is it? Is there any success stories from people that have done that, and you see them running and stuff?
dude,
I want to say it seems crazy. Because your proportions, this is what you grew up with. All your ligaments, all your tendons, all your
your
muscles.
back must get all fucked up.
How does it not? So these are guys that you can see them taller, but can you see them doing stuff? I know it works. There's a guy that I follow on Instagram that he was already a big guy. He was like 6 feet tall or 6
Wanted
foot
to
two.
get bigger.
He wanted to get bigger, and he gained like 6 inches. So I just want to see, like, has anybody done it? Can you run? Can you kick a bag? Can you lift weights? Like, what can you do?
This is the same guy.
Right.
He's at the gym. I mean, it's
Like
not
his
really
upper
active.
body,
Here's-
but I want to see, like, see, look how he's walking.
Yeah.
Like, this is crazy.
Oh, man.
New achievement unlocked.
He
He
might
can
have just
walk.
had the surgery though.
I don't think so, dude. I think you're in crutches for a long time.
How?
Yeah, this guy that I'm watching on Instagram, go to Instagram, go to Got My Knees Done. That guy. So this guy was already gigantic. He was already a big, huge guy, and he decided he wanted to be 6 inches taller. So he's been doing this, and, he's now, like, rebuilding his legs, and he's documenting it all. Kind of crazy, man.
Dude.
They just separate you see, now he's like walking with like canes. Look how big his arms are, and then his legs are still all fucked up from the surgery.
Man.
But the thing is, like, at the end of it, can you run? Like, are you like barely walking? Like, I've never seen anybody. He's like pressing some weight,
Doing
try to
presses.
but he's strengthening his legs. That's like part of the rehabilitation process. Doesn't look like it's very heavy. But my question is, like, success stories. So Google leg strengthening success stories. Like, not just are you taller, but are you fucked now? Like, what happens? It seems like you'd be fucked. Like, imagine if your shin was all of a sudden 6 inches longer.
Seems like it.
You'd be all like,
Seems like it would be.
you wouldn't even know how to step.
It would
you'd be
hurt.
like-
So they have metal in their legs
You'd
after
be,
that?
like, fucking stepping weird and shit. I mean, I guess eventually you would adapt to it, but fuck, man. And then 6 years from now, all I have to do is just press the button and I'd like to be 7 feet tall.
There you
today.
go.
And you're just like, I'm just eating steaks so I can catch up with the molecular structure change of.
Dude, it's going to be a sad day for all the body mod people, because it's like, fuck, dude, you did this like relatively like primitive, savage fucking therapy, and just right around the corner.
Most of our patients are able to run just like before after they fully recovered from their height increase surgery. But it's important to know that everyone's journey is a bit different. In the beginning, you might find your endurance isn't what it used to be, of course, or you might run a bit slower, or even notice your walking style's changed a bit. This is all normal. The key is to be patient with yourself and listen to what your body's telling you. Sometimes you might need a more physical therapy, or you might need a more physical therapy, or in rare cases, another surgery to address any instances that are issues rather that arise. But I want to see.
I know that this just says that they can.
Can you just show me? Can you Google post leg strengthening?
I tried running. I'm trying to get there. There's no real videos that I was seeing.
Leg
It's just
lengthening
people walking.
surgery gone
It's
wrong.
the same guy here.
It's really weird, man.
I'll try. I'll keep trying one.
You know,
That's extreme.
with the neural lace, the dream would be instead of getting leg lengthening surgery, you change your brain so you don't care how tall you are. That fixes the whole problem.
That doesn't fix the problem if you're trying to get laid and you're 5'1".
Well, you don't care about getting laid anymore. You take that out of your system
You
too.
become an alien. So this guy's had it.
He's not moving very well, but he's moving.
So he gained 7 centimeters. What is that in inches?
3, 2, 3,
Jesus Christ.
4.
Well,
How it goes.
but look at how it's like the way we react to people doing that is
Yeah.
like we recoil. There is built into us. It's like the idea is the avatar that you were born with, and whatever this simulation is, you don't get to change that avatar. You keep the avatar the way it is. You could do like shifts to the avatar by losing weight, gaining weight, getting muscles, dye your hair, get a wig. But the moment you start changing that avatar in like extreme ways, people are like, you can't do that. You change your avatar.
Well, I'm just worried about these people's the long-term consequences of this. I'm not worried about like if there was a way they could do it and just do it. I mean, I'm just thinking how many success stories, like what is the long-term history of this? Like how many people have done this? Like what is it? What's the effect on your hips long-term?
Here's a guy.
This guy did it a long time ago?
Yeah, he's doing squatting, running, and some like high knees and stuff.
Wow.
It worked. Look at that. It's fine.
So he's been doing it. How long is he out of surgery?
I don't know specifically.
Well, he looks like a regular athlete. He doesn't look like he's having any
This,
problems.
No problems.
But he also has like those pads over his shins, which lead me to think that he still has little scars there.
But everyone who watches him jump winces because they think his legs are going to snap.
That's him running?
This looks like before. Right here in the description, it says he wasn't able to sprint all out, but
Do
could
agility.
do stuff a year later
A year later.
after rehabbed and regained full athletic ability.
Surpassing my previous best prior to leg lengthening surgery. Interesting.
So there's one example I found, but you know,
Fucking cool. I love it, man. I welcome it. I can't wait to see the hybrid humans that are going to just be right around the corner, man.
There's going to be some wild people.
Wings.
Yeah, for sure, wings. That's going to be the first thing. Who doesn't want to be an eagle man?
Fucking wings, man. I want wings.
Who doesn't want to jump off a building? Just
Oh, dude. Unfold your wings when you go on stage. The going on stage. We descend down on the stage. You don't walk through the curtains.
Do you think you'd even want to go on stage if you could
Yes.
fly?
Are you fucking kidding me? You know how many funny
I'd just be
jokes
flying
you could
all
do
day.
if you could fly?
I'd just be flying all day.
No, you wouldn't. You would still do stand up.
I would want to get long toenails so I could catch a salmon.
That'd be the funniest thing. You're fishing and Joe Rogan swoops down and grabs your salmon.
Try to snatch him before the bear gets to him.
Dude. Dolphin. I want to go aquatic, baby. You stick to the skies. I'm going under. I want
That's
to
a good
get
move.
down there and explore and just go into the sea.
Yeah.
There's a book called Wizard of Earthsea by Ursula K. Le Guin, and they talked about how there's wizards who can turn themselves into dolphins. But the problem is if you stay a dolphin long enough, you forget that you're a wizard and you never come back to being a wizard. You just stay out there. So Like,
Whoa.
People would be disappearing into the ocean. Like, I'll be back tomorrow. I'm going to be a whale. And then you're just like, that was a dream, the whole human thing. I'm just going to stay whale, swim around. That's what that's what God did. See what it's like to be some limited thing. It's that great Alan Watts essay. See what it's like to be some limited fucking thing on a planet floating in the middle of nowhere. You don't want to remember I'm God. Just going to fucking plod around for a little bit.
Well, if we're a part of everything and the universe is God, that's what I think. I've been thinking about that more and more. Like this idea that God created the universe. Maybe, or maybe the universe is God. I mean, doesn't that make more sense if it's everything? If it's everything is one thing?
Yeah.
And then your role in it as a thing, as an intelligent thing, is getting whatever you are to a point where you transcend physical space.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
You become the final bunny. And that's I think that's what all of our cultural struggles, all of our struggles over resources, they're all the battle that keeps us moving against it to further and progress the human race. Like all the outrage about like those professors that weren't capable of saying that calling for the death of the Jews is hate speech or is harassment. All that is there to get people outraged enough that they realize, oh my God, this is insanity. We have to change the way we think. This is fucking insanity that this discussion is actually being had in 2023. But if it was subtle enough that it didn't freak you the fuck out, it wouldn't be good enough for change.
Dude, it's like you. First, though, you got to get a taste of it. Like, it's the saddest video. I hate it. You ever see that video of the polar bear when it snows? He's in a zoo, and now it's snowed, and the polar bear is rolling around in the fucking snow. Finally, everything makes sense to the polar bear. It's designed for snow. Right. There's snow. It's been in this snow-free environment.
Yeah.
So if we're the universe and simultaneously singular individuals, then we're made to be much more than we are. And if you're all squashed into your fucking body, the moment you just get any kind of respite from that, you remember, you're going to be nicer to people. Like if you and me are living, we're tight friends. But if you and me are living in a bachelor pad, how long before we start fighting, man? How long before we start irritating the shit out of each other?
Well, you and I lived together for 6 months.
You had a big ass house.
But we didn't irritate each other.
No, I'm saying if you take I don't care, take the Dalai Lama and Ram Dass and put him in a tiny little fucking room.
Right, they'd eventually get on each other's nerves.
So if you're living in a compressed reality where you've become convinced that you are all you are, your body is only you, then naturally you're going to panic. Naturally you're going to feel claustrophobic. Mm-hmm. Naturally you're going to be a dick. So if suddenly you had a realization that no, you're everything, you're more than that. The next thing spontaneously that will emerge from you is kindness, compassion. It might not be like, you might not become the sweetest person on earth, but shit people say to you is not going to hit as hard. Because like if you were in a dream where somebody was insulting you in the worst way possible, and you thought it was real, you're getting your feelings hurt over and over again in the dream. And then you remember, oh, I'm going to wake up. This is just a dream. That insulting thing isn't going to hurt as much. It's not going to hit you as hard. You're not going to take it personally. So you're totally right. It's like the moment people start remembering what we are, everything will shift. Everything will change. Everything does change because everyone's fucking suffering so much. These fucking professors, whoever the fuck it is, whoever's belting out outrage and anger and whatever, you can be certain of one thing: they don't feel great. They don't. Yeah.
There's no way.
No fucking way, and that's sad. And
also, how many of them are medicated?
Oh my God!
It's so normal for people. Whether it's in academia or just in many jobs, to be on SSRIs, to be on anti-anxiety medication, to be on mood stabilizers, to
Totally.
be on this or that Adderall, and I have ADHD, turns out, just need a little bit of Adderall. And how many of these people they're not even capable of stepping off whatever path they're on to rationally or objectively assess whether or not the way they think makes any sense at all.
Dude.
They're on a runaway train, just wee down the tracks.
Yeah, man.
And they're running major educational institutions,
yeah. And yeah.
legacy ones.
Dude, I think this is the status quo. This is how it's always been. Anytime you are in the world, you're around people who are sleepwalking. That's just part of it, because part of being in the world is you sleepwalk at first, because you're waking up from infinity. You're like a fucking. By the way, so I can get it off my fucking mind, can I pitch my book?
Please do.
It's like eating me alive, and it's making me feel like a fucking asshole. I have an audiobook that I did with one of my friends, Raghu Marcus, who runs the Ram Dass's foundation, the Love Serve Remember Foundation. He was with Ram Dass in India with Neem Karoli Baba, this great saint and guru. And he's been my friend for years. And so we recorded this audiobook called The Movie of Me to the Movie of We. That's it. It's just an audiobook. You could even think of it as like a podcast, basically. But he's just so brilliant, and he's just been living in this like world, and was lucky enough to meet this person who like was incredible.
What is this book about?
So this book is about, well, it's kind of what we're talking about. It's like I know you know this experience because you're so generous and you give. But if you're not giving, if you don't like, if you get too caught up in like serving yourself, if you get too compressed in the identity, you start defending, you start trying to like always placate yourself. So, but the moment that you start helping the moment you sort of expand your idea of who you are beyond your body, then at least in my experience as a like professional, selfish person, suddenly you feel this liberation. It's the most incredible thing. And so this is just like, we just talk about all the stuff at these Ram Dass retreats that I go to, and all of the like sort of mystical teachings that have emerged from all over the world that sort of point in the direction of how to sort of get the fuck out of this movie that you're in, where you're the main character. You're the main fucking character. It's a shitty fucking movie. You don't even want to be in the role. It's this guy Krishnadas came up with a idea, which is you wake up in the fucking morning, you're the main actor in a fucking shitty goddamn movie, and you're not just acting in the movie, directing the fucking shitty movie, then you're writing reviews about how much the movie sucks. That's the movie of me. And so the moment you sort of step outside yourself and realize, we're sharing the stage here together. Or even better, we're the same consciousness that's gotten confused by the proximity of our bodies. Then the movie changes into, instead of being Evil Dead 2, it becomes I don't know, whatever you want it to be, rom-com, porn.
There's a mystery that some people have solved, and they've solved it like temporarily sometimes, and sometimes they fall back to the old way of thinking. But the mystery can be solved while you're alive on Earth. That at least for moments, for brief moments, the universe reveals that there's this inescapable connection of all people, of all events, of all life, of all thought, of all love, of all hate, of all of it is in this insane cycle of giving and receiving and energy going back and forth. And we look at it in terms of like cultural conflicts. We look at it in terms of pollution. We look at all these different things. But what's really going on is this fucking insane connectivity that it's very difficult to be aware of as a biological organism with an imperative to stay alive. That's literally burned into your DNA because your being is the product of millions of years of things clawing and scratching
Yes.
to get to this point. And we're still so burdened by our origins that we can't abandon war. We can't abandon the one thing that scares the fuck out of us more than anything in life, and should. The one thing that's killed more innocent people than anything ever, and we can't even imagine a world without it.
Yeah, man.
That's the wildest thing about being a person.
Yeah.
The one thing that everyone would agree, like what? Think of all the horrible things that happened in that October 7th event, right? Oh, the slaughter of the women and the children, the rape, and the horrible shit. We can barely imagine a world where that doesn't take place sometimes. And in war, that's the kind of thing that takes place. And we can't imagine not having that.
No.
Like, we would never do that.
No.
Right? We're just people. Most people listening to this would never paraglide into a fucking rave and start gunning kids down, right? Most people listening could never even imagine doing that. But we also can't imagine a world where that doesn't take place.
That's right.
Which is insane.
Insane.
Insane. We are preparing constantly. We spend more money preparing constantly and spending money on the thing that protects us from all the bad people in the world than anything else we do by far.
And the whole thing falls apart the moment you stop doing you're you, I'm me. You're bad, I'm good. These are other me's. They're the good me's. You're the bad me's.
Yes.
And the bad me's have got to go. And
Crazy.
so that's the recipe for conflict, war, fighting, just a general shitty life, is that you think that this person over there is different from you. Even though that fucking person over there is you in a different incarnation.
Okay. With this philosophy, what do you do with the border?
I love you, man.
What do you do with the border?
Oh, that's great. Thanks for having me on the show.
Right? Wouldn't you just let everybody in?
Well, you know, man, the
Right, but you can't.
weren't you the person who told weren't you the person who told me that the samurai to kill somebody has to love him first? Did you tell me that? That like
No.
Oh,
No,
okay.
that's definitely not true. They killed a lot of people they don't even know.
All right, well then I'll throw that out of the fucking shit I say
I
when
gotta
I'm
pee
stoned.
again. I hate this, but I have to pee again.
No, I gotta
Come back
pee
in with
too.
the
You
samurai
fucking
thing.
kidding?
Sorry.
What do we do about the border?
Yeah, what do we do about the border? We were just talking about how easy these conversations are to have. That like you and I first became friends when I would call and get my availabilities. That's when we really got to know each other. It was over the phone. Because I would call and I'd say, I'm in town Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And he'd be like, hey, man, did you see this documentary? and then we would just start talking. We would talk for like fucking an hour and a half.
So
2
long.
hours.
It was so cool, man. It was such a fun beginning of a friendship. You don't know the first time. You don't remember the first time I met you, though. I don't think.
When?
So I was with Corey Como. She was a talent coordinator at the time. And I'm sitting next to you. And this is when I think you just started smoking weed. Like it was a relatively new thing. And you were realizing how wonderful it was. And so you were talking about how much you love weed. And I started doing the thing that you now know I do as like trying to be funny or fun. And I was about to be like, it causes brain damage. Because and Corey is like, Corey's like shoving me, like going, no, don't do that. Because you didn't know me. You would have just thought I was a fucking asshole.
Right.
And so I stopped. But I was like, you did give me like a sharp look for a second. And I'm like, oh, fuck. But that's when we first, like, that's when I was like, we hung out for the very first time. And then we started talking. And dude, I'll never forget this car ride. Driving back from the Anaheim Improv with you, I think. Mm-hmm. Stoned as fuck. And you put on Terrence McKenna. Some lecture that I still think about. And man, I felt like the universe was just melting down.
Yeah.
And it was really like blowing my mind. I'd read Terrence McKenna, but I'd never listened to any of his lectures. And it was just like he was talking about the singularity. Mm-hmm. And we were both like, God fucking damn it, this is crazy. And
there was a series of audio, it might have been cassettes that you could get it was on Amazon at one point in time, I think.
Yeah.
But it was all these Terence McKenna lectures, and then there was a Psychedelic Salon where you can get all of them. Did you ever go to that podcast?
No.
Psychedelic Salon has everything. Alan Watts, every Timothy Leary,
Wow.
every Terence McKenna, like so many hours and hours of McKenna. Amazing, because he would give like kind of similar speeches, but it was all, he just kind of would go wherever it would take him.
Yeah.
And he was so good at it because he was doing it constantly. So he would just show up to these places, and it was really interesting because he was like Timothy Leary had it wrong. Like, what I like to do is keep things small and quiet. And so he would do like, you know, a couple hundred people here and there. Who
Yeah.
cares? Nobody bothered him.
Yeah.
You know, never got too crazy.
Yeah, man. What a man, of all of the luminaries
Yeah.
that we missed, that I didn't get to talk to or hang out with, that one, God, it would have been so cool. Oh,
I've become friends with his brother. His brother's amazing.
Dennis is really cool.
He's amazing. And Dennis is the more skeptical scientist. Like,
Yeah.
he's a legitimate scientist, and he has some very, very unique, like, informed thoughts, particularly about the stoned ape theory. That's one of the more magical ones.
Yeah.
That's one of the more magical theories, because, man, if they're right, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you know,
Because that's a nutty one, dude.
that's a nutty one.
Because if that thing that became, literally is why we became human, if that thing somehow or another became a Schedule I substance in this corrupt, fucked up culture, where
Right.
you could get locked in jail for the very thing that turned us into people.
Right.
The very thing that the universe provided
Yeah.
for you to grow and evolve. And it's your right as an evolved creature to rebel against that to the point where you can overthrow that, because it's insane. You've let tyrants take over the ability that people have to evolve that came straight from God.
Yes.
If that's what's really going on, like that's the thing. That's like the push. That's like the people in front of Congress saying that, you know, calling for death to the Jews is doesn't constitute harassment unless it's actionable. It's like, it's a thing that makes you go, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
Someone's got to say, no, we're going to, not only can you not take it, we're going to put you in a cage. We're going to make it the most illegal thing. Like,
Yeah.
how are you making the thing that made people? Like, what data do you have that shows this is bad? Like,
Dude.
you don't have any. How are you locking people up? That's crazy.
This is why I don't think it's Project Bluebeam. Because you could just tell people, don't eat that thing that makes you remember your God, and that you should love everyone around you, and that you're part of a holy, mystical instantiation of consciousness into time-space, because it's bad. And we're all like, okay, all right, if you say not to, I guess we can't.
But don't you think they don't know, which is part of the problem? Because if you really did know, if you'd really taken it, you would never want to stop people from taking it. So I don't think any of them have done it, which should be a prerequisite.
I don't know.
Graham
dude.
Hancock has said, I think he had a crazy number. He said you should have no fewer than 20 ayahuasca or psilocybin
Jesus
experiences
Christ.
if you want to be president. I'm
Now
like,
that
Jesus.
I agree with. And you should have, like,
Could you imagine if that was the thing that you had to put them through? If that was the thing, instead of these fucking goofy debates where they're all dunking on each other and, well, you got lifts in your shoes, son. Instead of that,
Yeah.
if instead they all had to take psychedelics and we had to have access
yeah.
to their psychedelic ceremonies. So you could say, did he do his 5 sessions?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see, is his 5 sessions documented? Let's make sure we can watch his 5 sessions. Let's say if he doesn't scream out wild shit, like while he's like, you know, what is he, you know, maybe his real intentions will be revealed.
Dude,
like maybe when he gets,
100%.
maybe he can't, maybe he comes out of it a different person, he doesn't want to be president anymore.
Brilliant.
Maybe he does the 5 sessions and be like, I'm changing the course of my life.
was
Like,
I
what am I
thinking?
doing? Yeah. That sounds nuts, but if we were a healthy society, we would legitimately consider whether or not someone should have some very powerful documented psychedelic sessions that we know at a dose to be a transformative experience, and have multiple ones of those documented if you want to run things.
Dude,
And you should probably have to keep up with it too. You probably have to do it every 6 months.
I think that should definitely be on the agenda. But let's start with just get them drunk. I want to see what you're like when you're hammered. You know,
Right.
you know a lot about a person when you're around them when they're hammered.
Dude, some guys get super goofy when they get drunk.
Yeah.
They say some stupid things. Man.
Yeah, like well, for whatever you say, we won't hold it against you. But I want to see like your energy shift when you're hammered. Like,
Right,
what are you
right.
like? Are you a bully?
Are you a
Are
fun drunk?
Fun drunk.
You're
I
a
want my
happy drunk?
president to be a fun drunk. I don't
Right.
want a fucking angry drunk president.
Right.
Then you move on up the list of drugs and to just what is their consciousness like in different psychedelic states.
Right.
And then from that we can make a true judgment on
Well,
whether they'd be
also,
a good
they'll
president.
know more about themselves and why they wanted to do it in the first place,
Right.
if they still want to do it after it's over. Because a lot of people think they want to be president just because it's hard to do. Like, there's a lot of things that are hard to do you shouldn't do.
Right.
You know, like, there's a lot of jobs that seem like they're good, but it's just hard to do. You know, it's not, you don't want that.
Dude, okay, so this connects to what we're talking about. I told you about this great documentary on Netflix about this cult, Love is One. Fascinating. This cult leader, essentially, like my analysis of it is that the cult killed her. She started off as a cult leader, but then as things progressed,
What was her name?
I can't remember, or Mother God is what they called her.
Here it is. This is the lady?
Yeah.
From Mother God to mummified corpse, inside the fringe spiritual sect, love has won. Amy Carlson was supposed to be the incarnate of Marilyn Monroe, Joan of Arc, and Jesus Christ. Man, that's ambitious. When
was
she
more-
shed her earthly body for the latest time, authorities found her followers still worshiping it, shedding light on the group many have called a cult. You
It's
think?
a fucking cult.
You
I
think
can't believe
many
they
have
said it
called?
like that. That's a cult.
Many have called. Jesus, Rolling Stone, what are you doing?
Dude, that's
Many
such
have called a
weird
cunt.
language.
What does that even mean?
Well, the documentary is spectacular, but what's interesting about it is that so this person is dying. She needs to go to the hospital. Sometimes she would come out of her cult leader, I am God mentality and say to people, I don't think this is real. I don't think I'm God. And they would say to her, Mother God, you're just in your lowers right now. You're not in your higher etheric body, which is why you think you're not Mother God. You are Mother God. And in interviews, one of them, I think, said if she'd asked to go to the hospital, I don't think we would have taken her. So this cult forms around this woman, and then the cult itself enables her alcoholism. She was a profound alcoholic. It, like, keeps her on. She's like drinking colloidal silver till she turned fucking blue.
Oh my God.
Turns blue, and like the cult like essentially like devours her until they're worshiping her mummified body. I'm comparing this to the presidency.
How'd they mummify her?
Well, I don't know that they just like let her like sit in a sleeping bag. You can see the picture if you want to see the picture of it.
Yeah, I want to see the picture.
Okay, yeah, it's pretty wild.
How rough is it?
Not, I mean, the way that her whatever the eyes are that they put there really do seem to be gazing into your soul is pretty intense.
Put
but
fake eyes in there?
I'm not sure it was her eyes. I read that they painted it, or it's like, dude, it is. You will love this documentary, by the
Get the
way.
exact photo yet, but this is like where.
That's
seems
as she's turning
stick-
blue.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And that's from that colloidal silver?
Yeah, Mother God.
God, that's so weird. And what was she trying to recover from with this colloidal silver?
Well, she had some kind of organ failure going on and like anorexia,
Oh, no.
but she was drinking and she was getting hammered all the time.
Organ failure, drinking, and anorexia all together? Well, how many people have turned blue? People turning blue using colloidal silver.
I also found. Duncan will probably get to this. Never mind.
This is another one of her.
Just part of the story. The headline on Variety. or
Mother
Vanity
God,
Fair.
Robin Williams, and alcohol is
Yeah,
medicine.
dead celebrities had something to do with this too.
Robin Williams talked to her. Like she had contact. She channeled Robin Williams.
Oh,
who-
Jesus.
Dude, it is. But
I can't wait to watch it.
so
I love a good cult documentary, dude.
I didn't mean to derail our conversation about the president. What I mean is that it's a similar thing. You start off wanting to be president, and you become president, but then you're in this system that where you're trapped. Like you got to have security for the rest of your life. I think it's mandatory. Like if you've been president, that means you are being constantly monitored.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life by the U.S. government. Like,
Right.
so it's a similar fucking thing. Like you're like, even if you have the best intention by the time you get in there and you have to start making these rotten decisions and you have to feel the hate of at least half the country every fucking day, the psychic hate of half the country, probably more than half of the world, it crushes you. It kills you. So it's a really like dangerous, shitty, rotten job that you trapped yourself in, and then you don't want to leave because what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do after you've experienced that level of power? How do you go back to a regular life?
Well, you're never a regular person ever again. I mean, no. Who has vanished the best? I guess W. He's pretty much vanished.
I mean, but well, look at what he started doing. He started doing those paintings of people, military in the war that he started.
Yeah, weird paintings.
I think Jimmy Carter did a pretty good vanishing act. Like he kind of dropped out. You didn't hear about him that much.
True.
Obama, no, he's like directing movies now and stuff.
But W did 2 terms. You know?
Yeah, right.
2 terms, 8 years, during the height of the war on terror. It was right after 9/11 that he got elected. So he gets elected, it's 2020, and then 2021, or 2001 rather, we have 9/11. So it's like not that long after he was president, and then all of a sudden his approval rating goes up, and everybody likes him more.
Right.
And for 8 years, this guy was involved with Dick Cheney in this war that now everybody thinks of as a fucking catastrophe.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of melted away. And he's just painting somewhere now. Just where people with machine guns like stand around and keep eye out for everything.
Because for sure there's someone coming for you. Like for sure there's somebody out there who's like, I'm just going to kill him someday. I'm just going to get to him. That's how you have to wake up, just knowing that's your life. Fuck that job.
Or like Salman Rushdie when he got attacked on stage. That's like 20 years after the fatwa.
Yeah, yeah.
Some guy came on stage and stabbed him. If you were like Dick Cheney, you can't go anywhere without worrying someone's going to get you. I mean, they made a movie about you where fucking, what's his name, Batman. Christian Bale played you.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
Yeah, dude.
And it's not favorable, right? It's not a favorable movie. Like, what did you guys do?
I mean,
what did you do?
This is why there's a whole strata of society that's designed for people like that, you know, I'll never see. It's some rarefied place with...
It's called Bohemian Grove.
Give me a break.
You can go there by canoe.
Did you watch that video?
No, you told me some guy broke into it.
Dude, it is the most...
What's the video? Where do we get it?
I Google guy breaks into Bohemian Grove. It's
and
truly
not Alex
disappointing.
Jones and John Ronson.
It's
That
truly
was, like,
disappointing.
In the 90s.
And I think they definitely get high there because I think he saw a sign in one of the cabins that said no marijuana.
Is it this guy?
I think
there's a few people that have done it.
This might be someone introducing it, but the one I saw was just first person POV of the guy going through the Bohemian Grove. This isn't it. No, this isn't it. It's at night. They might have, it was on Instagram. They might have already zapped it. There it is.
Which one? This one?
Our guy sneaks into infamous Bohemian Grove. That could be it, but I guess a lot of people have done this. This is something that
2 days ago. So
yeah, this is it.
That's it?
He got in deep.
I just posted 10 days ago.
Oh, okay, this must be it. Okay.
So
this is him. He's wearing a mask. And how's he sneaking in? Through the woods?
I heard it was a kayak, but maybe not.
Well, how did he get in?
Oh, back up.
No idea.
So I just shine my light in here. And all the lights just turned on. Whoa. Yo, I want to go to Bohemian Grove.
Me too. We could go. You
could
could
go.
go in a second. I want to go. And
What do we have to do? Who do we have to pledge our allegiance to watch the ritual?
I don't think that. I think they would just probably think you're funny and will let you in.
Really?
Yes. Look, does this look sinister? None of this looks
Hold on.
sinister to me.
Looks a little sinister to me, buddy. Looks like no one's there.
It's nice and mossy.
They don't have a ritual every day.
It's romantic. Look at that nice moss.
Is that the owl?
That's the owl, but watch when he bangs on it and you realize it's fucking hollow.
But look, it's got all the moss and everything on it.
Beautiful.
It looks cool. So when is he banging on
Look,
it?
this is inside the fucking owl.
Okay.
not a stone megalith like I thought.
Well, it's like got a little space in there. But it seems like it's made out of cement, dude.
Whatever, it's
when is
hollow.
Like an Easter egg. Or like one of those bunnies, when you get an Easter bunny and
Yeah.
it's hollow, you get upset.
Like a putt-putt golf course, like a fucking thing at a putt-putt course. No offense, Bohemian Grove members, I do want to come. I'll take your hollow out. But I'm sorry, this to me, I think it like now look, this is I guess their bathroom. It's
That's
all worn,
Nixon shit there.
It's all worn down. It's like
Yeah, it's probably they kept it the same as it's always been. I mean, if you got to imagine, if these guys were going there, when they start going there? In the 60s? Like,
Yeah.
when did they start going there?
Logs.
that's the funny thing. Everything he sees is sinister to him. There he goes back in his kayak.
Oh, okay. So he did have a kayak.
He's fucking out.
It seems kind of crazy that they don't have any security there at all.
Another sign that it's not as sinister as we thought.
Is he using a frying pan? This guy's a loon. This guy's a straight loon.
He's using a frying pan.
Maybe he felt like he would also act as a weapon to crack alligators over the head with if they were coming after him or something. There's no alligators in California. What am I saying?
I'm sure the security guard was just like, this happens every night. And this one, he's like, I got to take a shit. Like, I'm not dealing with another
fucking loony.
But, like,
But the thing is, like, we know that world leaders at least used to meet there. I mean, the Nixon audio tapes are hilarious. Ever hear Nixon talking about it? The faggiest thing I've ever seen.
yeah, Nixon dissed it.
See if Nixon, pull up the audio of Nixon talking about Bohemian Grove. Apparently, they did a lot of wild shit back then.
I think they still probably do. I'm not saying they don't party there, but I just.
How many politicians are like that? How many politicians are like closet super perverts?
In January 1970.
I don't.
You know?
In another of the candid and sometimes coarse conversations released today, the president muses about anti-Semitism. He's talking to evangelist Billy Graham and worries about reaction to the Washington visit of Israeli Prime Minister Golda Meir, because Israel has just shot down a Libyan passenger plane.
There was this anti-Semitism, is almost hysteria about the bombing.
No.
We all know.
I'm sorry. I don't know where in this video it is.
Oh.
Probably hard to find. It's probably a little clip.
Yeah, you got to find the Bohemian Grove part.
I thought it would just be the only thing on the video. Clearly, it's not. This is apparently some other tape.
Yeah, we're the weirdos.
He's
who
just
think-
talking about all kinds of shit. From the lost Nixon tapes. Gays are born that way. Well, he was right. Congratulations.
Yeah, I don't know. I swear. I mean, I know we've played this before. I don't know
Yeah.
why it's not coming up right away.
Nixon, Bohemian Grove, huh? Nothing? Scroll down a little bit. Maybe.
It starts to get muddier.
Seems like you'd find it right away.
Right. And I mean, Google.
I mean, Nixon on Bohemian Grove.
It's the
That's
same
it.
video I
Let's
see.
It's
see.
the same video.
Yeah.
Oh, 1 minute.
No, this is it.
Right, that's it, yeah.
This is the right one.
As spring began to
1971.
bloom in Washington, D.C., President Nixon took the time to have an impromptu conversation with two of his close aides. H.R. Haldeman.
Look at that
John
guy.
Ehrlichman,
They look like
known
dudes
by
from the
Nixon's
60s.
Yeah.
bosses as the Berlin Wall because of their German-sounding names and their penchant for isolating Nixon from anyone who wanted to see him. The only problem was, this little off-the-cuff conversation was being recorded by the secret White House taping system. President Nixon's thoughts, as well as those of Haldeman and Ehrlichman, would soon become a part of presidential history.
Let's look at Northern California. You understand? Yeah. You know what's happened in San Francisco. San Francisco is just gone. It's clear over. I know that, but it isn't.
San Francisco's just gone down clear. It's not just the ratty part of town. The upper class in San Francisco is that way. The Bohemian Grove that I attend from time to time. Easterners that come there. This is the most faggy goddamn thing you could ever imagine. The San Francisco crowd who lives there, it's just terrible. I don't want to shake hands with anybody from San Francisco.
It's a different set of values.
They've messed up my grove.
A different set of values.
Yeah.
Reagan.
So they were all there hanging out together.
Yeah.
He said, I go there from time to time.
Yeah, I just don't think it's. I mean, look, I was hoping. I was so excited by that video. I'm grateful to whoever filmed it because I was like, oh shit, the owl up close. Because Alex Jones only got the distant owl, which is still good footage.
Right.
But this is like close up of the owl. You missed the urn in front. They have a bowl in front of the owl. I mean, again, I can't believe I have an expectation for the Bohemian Grove, but I thought they would be doing better upkeep on their cabins.
Well, maybe once they got found out, they don't go there anymore.
Move to a different grove.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't they just abandon that fucking thing? If you're the Illuminati, if the Illuminati's real, why would you stick with a place that's already been, like, outed? Because everybody shut your mouth.
Right. Yeah, I don't...
It's Burning Man.
Hey, maybe. Hey, I'll tell you this. I would not doubt if there were an Illuminati. It would not surprise me at all to know some of them go to Burning Man. That would make sense.
I would imagine they would go just to keep their fucking finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
Like, what are you freaks up to?
Dude, they flew. The one I went to, they flew what are they called? F-22s?
Mm-hmm.
They there's a military base near there that wanted to fuck with Burning Man.
Whoa.
And they flew over Burning Man a few times just to blow everyone's mind and freak everyone out. It was trippy.
How fast were they going?
Fast as fuck. It was crazy.
How low were they?
It was like shoo, shoo. Like it
Really
was
low?
so. I mean, I was pretty high, so I'm not really sure. But yeah, it was so funny looking around at the faces of all the burners after like high tech military aircraft just flew over. I think they just wanted to look at the festival, probably.
No, they're fucking with those people.
Well,
they're
probably-
having fun.
I would do that if I was a fighter pilot. Definitely fly over
Why
Burning
wouldn't you
Man.
have fun? Those fucking dirty hippies. Clean your feet.
They're not all hippies.
Oh no, there's a lot of different kinds of weirdos that go to those things. But it is interesting, like how significant it is a part of people's lives that they go to Burning Man. Like it becomes like a thing that they look forward to. Like it's their Olympics every year.
It's one of the
You
best
know?
things I ever experienced as far as like festivals go. I mean, changed my life for the better for sure. It's incredible. I mean, it really. I know that you will never go, but if you did go, you would get it. And that's what I love.
I get it.
It's got a force field around it, a cultural force field where people have an idea about what it is, and you can't really have an idea about what it is because it's too big.
Right.
Your idea about what it is correct, like for a piece of the pie, but you really can't you can't know all of what it is other than like this incredible expression of art and an incredible like temporary example of like humans can do this too. We don't have to blow shit up. We can drive around in garish, fancy art cars dressed like weirdos with like playing like awesome music and like just have fun together. Like that is possible too. And the fact that it's hard to get there and a difficult terrain definitely helps strain some people out. So the people who come there are really fascinating. I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's like the force field where people are like, that's where douchebags go, or that's where annoying ass fucking hippies go. Yes, you are correct. They're there. But that's not all that's there. And so
Right.
it's a mystical, I mean, I'm telling you, it's a mystical place. It's one of the most mystical things I ever encountered.
Well,
out
that's
there.
probably what's going to happen somewhere, just like the United States of America. Like the United States of America is only 3 people old, you know? Like just if you just stop and think about what these people decide
Right.
to do to escape the confines of a society that they found themselves trapped in and all the tyranny. They escaped and they came to a new land, started new, and there's a lot of, you know, it's not a happy story in all forms.
No.
It's a lot of fucked up things went down, but the idea that that can never happen again seems kind of silly. Like it's happened so many times.
Right.
I mean, it wouldn't be an easy thing to do, and people are definitely going to resist. That's the thing that you have to be like really aware of. If you tried to start another country right now, the country you're from would come and fuck with you. They do not want you doing that. Like if we just like imagine, what if the climate change people are right, and everybody looked at Greenland, going, "You can get Greenland pretty fucking cheap."
Yeah.
And we just went in and bought Greenland. You know, like remember there was a joke that Trump was talking about buying Greenland? And
Yes.
He promised that he wouldn't do this. He put a meme up. It was hilarious of a giant like Trump tower. It says Trump on it because I promise I won't do this to Greenland.
Yeah.
It was so funny. Like who the fuck is that much awareness? like,
Yeah.
as a president to do that. But if someone bought Greenland, and if climate change does keep happening, and like all of a sudden Greenland like kind of becomes nice,
Yeah.
becomes a good spot, temperate climate because of where it's at. It's like the rest of the world's a little too hot, but Greenland's perfect. And then the people that escape what's wrong with how the United States has been run, what's wrong with money in politics, what's wrong with money in the pharmaceutical industrial complex, being able to advertise and control politicians, and all the shit that you saw over the last few years, and all the shit you see with war, all the shit you see right now. If someone started a new one.
Yeah, good luck.
Good luck.
I mean, you need space colonization for that to happen. Like, you need some kind of...
Or a disaster.
Or a fucking disaster.
Giant disaster. Like a big one. Like
yeah.
a big, crazy asteroid impact type deal where everything's fucked.
Collective consciousness shift. I mean, I know that's like such new age bullshit to say, but like theoretically, if there was some shift in consciousness, then maybe there would be you would really have to have like a complete shift in like value. And then if that happened, you could see some new way of running things.
Well, don't you think that that shift is happening right in front of our eyes? It's hard to see because we're looking at it through the lens of a person who exists day by day. But if you just went back to when you and I, when did we first meet?
Dude, 2012?
No,
pre-2012, because we were talking about the Mayan apocalypse.
When did you first start working at the store?
Late 90s. Oh, yeah. I've been there for a long time. Dude, I'm really bad with...
2012 was nuts. I've known you from the 90s.
No, dude, I'm so bad with time. Like,
I think I met you in like 99 or something
99,
like that.
probably. 99.
Something like that. 99, 2000. Back then, marijuana was illegal, and the only way to get a hold of it in California was you have to have a medical license.
Right.
So we used to get medical licenses to get it. And the idea of psychedelics at all being accepted in any positive way was alien.
Right.
You never heard about PTSD being treated like MAPS wasn't.
True.
They hadn't done their studies yet.
Right.
With MDMA, they hadn't done the psilocybin studies. You hadn't heard about ibogaine for helping people get off opiates. Opiates weren't even a problem then, right? It wasn't. There wasn't not a thing that people were talking about. To go from that to where we are now, where there's states that have decriminalized it. And then it was there was a proposal for California, but Newsom rejected it because they didn't have like a protocol in place. He said, come back when you have like some sort of if you're going to use it for therapy, some sort of a therapeutic protocol, which, you know, probably makes sense. Like not just decriminalizing it, but decriminalizing it and setting boundaries for use. Like this is how you should do it.
Right.
Like, if you weigh 150 pounds, this is what you need. I guess it's not even weight dependent, apparently. Apparently, mushrooms are not weight dependent.
No way. That's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know how they know that though. Like, how many studies have they done with dosing people? You know, that are 100 pounds up to 300 pounds. How many studies have they done on that? But the thing is, they're doing those studies now, and you can get ketamine from a fucking licensed therapist now.
Right.
And people are traveling on a regular basis to go to South America to do ayahuasca. It's really common. There's ayahuasca tourism. Everybody talks about doing it.
Right.
There's so many people that are microdosing. There's so many people in Silicon Valley that are microdosing and openly talking about it. It's a different world than it was just from the time you and I met.
Right.
So it's happening right in front of us.
Right.
It's just not moving at a pace that corresponds with our understanding of it.
Right.
Like we're saying, like, how can you say it's illegal? Like, how are you making it illegal? It doesn't make any sense. This is a thing that's made by people to control other people. And in this one, you're not helping anyone.
Right.
You're hurting people. It's overall known that this is a fact.
Right.
But it's taking time for that idea to be accepted. People have to die. Generations have to pass. New ideas have to be cemented in people's heads because they're so ideologically entrenched in what they initially believed.
Right.
That's why it's so hard for vegans to go back to eating meat. Like, they can't.
Slow drip, baby. I mean, look, again, it's like, this is the other thing is like, if you judge a tree by its fruit, I love what you're pointing out there. If you look at the fact that this is happening, the implication is there are people in positions of power recognizing that there's just no fucking way we're going to legalize acid and mushrooms and MDMA, you fucking hippies. We're not doing it overnight. No. Give us some time. There's people who clearly recognize that and are slowly turning the dial and shifting into whatever the future of humanity looks like, where we're not encumbered by draconian consciousness limitations. So, the implication is there's people in positions of power who are 100% for humans having access to their birthright. And that's exciting to think about. I wonder who those people are. No idea, but I'm glad they're out there.
We're in such a weird time.
Yeah, man. What a great
it's
time.
all happening like right in front of us. It's just all at once, and so many things from so many, and we have so much access to it. And then we also have so many lies. And it's all of it just slamming into each other left and right in front of us like little ideological car accidents.
I know.
Just like the truth and fiction and narrative and bullshit and what you want to believe versus what's really true.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I get grabbed all the
bad guys
time.
and good guys and fucking bang, bang,
Yeah.
bang, bang.
Yeah.
And the way one group of people looks at one thing versus the way another group of people, and they all both seem kind of like rational.
Yeah.
Like how? How are you guys so far apart in your ideas? How is this? How are we so divided about so many unimportant things?
Yeah.
When the important things are not being resolved. Like none of the important, like if you really wanted to control people, you would want to keep them doing what we're doing. Just constantly arguing about the dumbest shit, the things that we can't, and having very little understanding of what you're really fucking passionate about.
Right.
And you just still yelling it out anyway.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you want to, and also you want to make them feel completely impotent and completely out of control and helpless.
Yeah.
And the only way you can do that is by again and again make them think that they are a limited, temporary, organic body that when it dies, it's dead forever. Make them feel like this is all there is, so you better fucking go for it. And going for it means grinding and hurting other people to get your fucking whatever it is you're looking for, because that's all you got anyway, man.
Yeah.
And you got to go. So if you keep the fixation on that paradigm, then yeah, you can probably control a shit ton of people.
Well, that's what they liked about COVID. One of the things they liked about it was that they could control you. If they could get you to get vaccinated, if they can get you to do that, they could force you to do a thing. That's a level of control they've never had over adults before. It's a new thing, you know, and if it's profitable and it's also this thing you're forcing people to do, boy, that gets sketchy. Boy, that gets sketchy.
Well, yeah, I mean, but there's so many
And
other.
it happened.
Did you ever see the video of someone bitching about seatbelt laws?
Yes, I love it. It's from like the 1970s.
I'll never wear a fucking
This is
seatbelt.
Basically, communism. Can't
Yeah.
have a beer after you get home from work.
Yeah.
That's the guy's talking about.
I feel like there's been endless iterations of this sort of flexing where you're like, you can't do that anymore.
Yeah. Well, it's just the insurance. That's the seatbelt thing. It was just people were dying, and it's like costing too much money, and they made laws. It's
But
not like they care about you.
Our willingness to accept regulation.
Exactly. Our willingness to accept regulations. I'm trying to pull up this. So I'm looking for this this thing because it's wild hearing him say it. Yeah, here it is. And you hear Fauci actually say it. It's just like, wow. Why would you say that out loud? Like this is not what you should be saying. Like, listen to this. Because this is what everybody suspected, that they thought this way.
Talk about someone who faded out. Whatever happened to him? He just disappeared.
He's in a coffin somewhere, waiting for the
He
moon.
reveals what he really wanted out of all those COVID mandates.
Once people feel empowered and protected legally, you were going to have schools, universities, and colleges are going to say, you want to come to this college, buddy? You're going to get vaccinated. It's been proven that when you make it difficult for people in their lives, they lose their ideological bull and they get vaccinated.
Dude, if that was in a movie, it'd be cheesy. That's like they don't know the hot mic is on, the villain gets revealed.
Yeah.
What the fuck? I never saw that.
Isn't that wild? Isn't it just wild that he thinks that way?
That's why they fucking turned his mic off, dude. Because they're like, "Hey, what the fuck are you doing? We only say that at the Bohemian Grove.
Well,
you
all
can't
they'd
say that
have
out
to do
loud."
is read Robert Kennedy's book. Robert Kennedy's book is more terrifying. And I've always said, if it's not true, why isn't he getting sued? Because if it is true, you should all be freaked out. And I know millions of people have read that book now. but it's not reviewed. You don't hear it talked about. It's not like a thing the mainstream media brings up. Just the actual facts that he's laying out, just not even from COVID, from the AIDS epidemic. Just go back and listen, just read that book or listen to the audiobook. And just the stuff about AZT is wild. And using the same language. He was using it, the AZT is both safe and effective.
Really?
Using that same language for something that fucking killed people quicker than anything.
Dude, if only they had been... I feel like if they'd been honest when they came out with the vaccine and been like, it's
that's no way.
There's
no
a
way
chance it's going to fuck you up.
That's not what they do. They never do that.
But
ever.
then if they'd done that, that's so...
They can't start doing that, Duncan. They've never done that. And not only do they not do that, but they're allowed to run multiple studies. And if they can find one that they can rig in a way that some sort of a finagle shows some kind of positive benefit, that's the one they run with. And they can have 8 studies that don't show it, or 8 studies that show it's bad, and they just push it away. And then on top of that, what gets even weirder is when someone goes to review these studies, they don't get the actual data. They get the review of the data from the pharmaceutical drug companies, and then they get to review what their findings were. They don't get to review the actual data. The whole thing is nuts.
You really think the COVID vaccine was bad for you?
What?
I'm just kidding.
I don't even think that. That's not even what I'm saying. What I'm saying is they have a standard way that they handle any kind of medication.
Yeah, dude.
That's how you make the most money.
I mean, it's when, like, you know, that collision between profit and medicine, it's such a dark place. It's so dark when you're at the hospital and you realize they have a motive to keep you here. Like the doctors, they've done their oath. They might not, but the hospital itself can implement certain rules and regulations that have a higher probability of keeping you in there longer so that it's more expensive. And that's where it gets fucking weird. And when it comes to pharmaceutical companies or anything that's profiting off of sickness, it's like, you know, it's like the I don't know if there's a, what do you call the sugar industry? Big sugar?
Big sugar.
Big sugar. And the pharmaceutical companies, these are like happy bedfellows because one is poison, the other fixes the damage from the poison. And so when suddenly there's a profit motive behind it, ooh, shit's going to get weird because the lobbyists for the pharmaceutical companies theoretically would not want regulation on weird dyes and shit that Big Sugar's putting in stuff because that is going to reduce the profit for whatever medication they use to treat the damage from the fucking dyes.
Isn't that nuts?
Do they work together? Do they have meetings about this? How much have they thought it through? You know, we're going to see a big dip in our insulin profits if they regulate how much sugar is in Oreos. Like there's going to be a direct hit on our fucking industry if that happens.
Do you think they do it that far?
I don't think so. I pray that they don't, but it wouldn't surprise
wouldn't you
me.
do it if you had an obligation to your shareholders? You're supposed to make the most amount of money possible. Isn't that part of your job?
That's what you tell
You have
yourself,
to
I
do it.
guess.
You would have to do it that way.
Yeah,
You'd have
man.
to say, like, let these people eat their fucking sugar. I want to buy a yacht.
Yeah.
Let them eat their goddamn sugar.
You know, just say the cereal's fucking good for you. You know,
Cereal's good for you.
it's fucking great for you.
It's great for you.
This is a healthy...
Do you know one of the biggest drugs, emerging drugs, like over the last few years, has been blood thinners?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, how much of an increase in the prescriptions for blood thinners have there been over the last few years?
What is that for?
Someone was talking about it because of strokes. Someone was talking about it. I need to find out if it's true, though. It's one of those things that I was watching this YouTube video where some doctor was discussing the uptick in blood thinners. They were also talking about heart medications and heart issues and the uptick in heart issues. So
scary.
It's a large uptick. It's an uptick that if it was anything else, people would be really looking into it. If it was diet, if all of a sudden like some new food was introduced into the food system that we never ate before, but then all of a sudden there was a corresponding big uptick in all-cause mortality, people would start thinking, like, I wonder if it's this new thing that just got introduced. Like, if it was anything else.
Do you remember when... Okay, so I don't know if you remember science class, but I remember one of the things that I thought was exciting about science was it, or maybe I just had a good teacher who's like, anyone can be a scientist. Like that's the whole beauty of the method.
Right.
This is a way to interrogate reality
Yes.
to find out what the truth is. And you know, anyone, you don't have to wear a fucking lab coat. Anyone should and could use this method to differentiate superstition from reality, cognitive bias from reality. It's very exciting suddenly to be like, oh yeah, I don't have to be Isaac Newton to be a scientist.
Right.
I can just use these methods in my own weird little experiments. And then something happened where suddenly the articulation of what you think is the truth, even if you're fucking wrong, became off limits. You couldn't say what you're talking about right now out loud. You weren't supposed to anymore. And people would even say, don't do your own research.
Right.
Don't investigate. Stop. You're not of the scientific class. You don't even understand this shit. Stop. It's misinformation. When it's like, fuck. Like, instead of saying stop, challenge it. Like my favorite, it's funny reading the arguments between physicists. I don't know if you've ever seen that when they fight, like when scientists get in big fucking fights. It's so funny. And that was part of the tradition of science, is like scientists weren't all these placid, like soft, sweet.
They are when you deny them funding if they're not.
Oh God, that's so dark.
And that's what happens. Money takes over medicine.
So fucked up.
Money takes over politics. Money takes over military. Money takes over environment. Money takes over green energy. Duncan, it's all about green energy. It's all about the Green Deal. Our Green Deal is going to fix it all.
Oh, yeah.
And people are just raking in money on this Green Deal.
Yeah.
This Green Deal. We got partners in the Green Deal.
Fuck
We're going
yeah.
to stop this and we're going to form that, and we're going to have a coalition, and no more gas cars. And then everybody's car has a limiter on it now. You can only go 65 miles an hour. That's it.
Yeah.
Forever. That's going to reduce deaths. Don't you want to reduce
you go.
deaths? And we want a kill switch. I mean, what if a bad guy's running away?
We could just
Want to be
stop
able to
him.
shut the car off.
No more police
Or
chases.
what if you have a bad tweet?
Stop your fucking car.
And we just decide to stop your car and don't even tell you why we stop
Your car pulls over and says, fucking retweet it. It's
Yeah.
not, or revise. Not, I would like that for my unfunny
Is there
tweets.
something you'd like to fix? Like it pulls over and the thing just says, is there something you'd like to fix?
That tweet wasn't funny, Duncan. Yet again.
Is there something I should fix? Perhaps one of your tweets.
Okay.
Yeah, please delete the offending tweet. Okay. Continue. And then you can drive again.
Yeah, man.
That's not outside the realm of possibility. If some guy got arrested and went to jail for shit posting a meme about Hillary Clinton, about the voting thing. You know that one?
Yeah,
Where the guy
dude.
said, you don't have to go vote in person, do 555. We found out that guy, apparently, I believe this is true. He just posted it. The guy who got arrested. I don't think he created it.
When I was digging through that
He
yesterday,
just posted a meme.
He did post it, but I couldn't tell in the wording of it if he'd asked someone to make it for him and then he posted it. I couldn't.
I believe he said that he didn't make it. I believe he said that in an interview.
Or what if he asked someone to make it for him?
Right, that's possible too. Yeah.
Or paid someone to make it
Right,
for him. You know?
totally possible.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
that would be different. You could say I didn't make it. Yeah.
the fucking e-car thing, man. That it's just like, dude, I don't want to have something monitoring me all the fucking time like an e-car, or like you're saying, I don't want the ability for someone to turn this shit off. Or
I think they already have it in some cars. I think they have it with OnStar. I think that's one of the capabilities. See if that's true. Does OnStar have the capability of shutting off a car?
A gas
if it's
car?
a hot pursuit.
Gas
Yeah.
car? Oh,
I believe
fuck.
so. I believe it's a computer program because it allows you to start your car and it'll open. You can have like
All right.
like a friend of mine locked his keys accidentally in his Suburban. He called OnStar. OnStar unlocked his car so he could go in and get his keys.
Yeah. On their website, they sell, it's part of what they sell.
Okay, what does it say?
It's like if you're getting carjacked.
Carjacked and kidnapped. When a woman's SUV is stolen with her mother and grandchildren inside, OnStar helps save the day.
That's
so
great.
OnStar shut the car off.
Yeah.
So that's great if it does this. If a woman got kidnapped with her cute little kid, I want to know if those are real people or if those are crisis actors.
OnStar stops fleeing felon and stutter.
Yeah. So OnStar already has the ability to do that. So that kill switch that everybody's asking for already exists if you have some cars. And if those cars, is it just a GM that has OnStar? Is OnStar only General Motors, or is it like just a car thing? I feel like it's like a General Motors thing. I think it's Cadillacs and.
Yeah, it's part of General Motors.
Yeah, I wonder if they allow it in other cars though. Is OnStar in other cars outside of General Motors cars, or is it only?
I mean, the good news is no one will ever hack that and use it for other things.
Never.
It's completely safe. That will
It's
never
totally-
be used
Yeah, give up-
against what OnStar's using it for. It'll only stop
It's
kidnappers.
available in that's in China.
Another brick in the wall.
Yeah, I remember being at a Pink Floyd laser light show when I was in high school. And it was the saddest thing, man, because another brick in the wall, We Don't Need No Education comes on at a laser light show, which is already depressing because it's definitely not Pink Floyd and it wasn't even that good a laser light show. And there's a security guard. He's probably in his 20s. It's a shit job. He's got to be the security guard at the laser light show. And then, like, the crowd turns on him.
On the security guard?
Just because he was in a security guard uniform and that song comes on and everyone starts raging against this guy. It was so weird. It's like, what? Are you going to start attacking this guy? He's like,
That's the problem with uniforms.
Yeah, dude.
Uniforms allow you to assume a position of power over people, but also you become the enemy. Like you're wearing the uniform of the authority.
That's
and you're just a person.
Dude.
Most cops are just fucking people. All cops. They're just people.
Yeah.
Just humans. But you put them in a fucking outfit and you give them guns and like, you want to talk about a responsibility that's difficult to handle.
Oh, God.
That one's crazy.
Dude, there's like some jobs in this world that I think about and they're like, motherfuck, ER doctor.
Oh, my God.
Fuck that trauma doctor. Fuck that police officer. It's like, God Christ in heaven every fucking night.
Every fucking night.
You're just driving around. You're thinking about your fucking kids.
Yep.
And you get a weird call. And the next thing you know, there's some dude running at you with a chainsaw that you're begging to stop because you don't want to fucking kill him.
Right.
Oh, what a horrible job. And the amount of money you should get paid for that versus what they make. Like.
Big gap.
Big gap.
Big gap. Yeah.
And then you're getting PTSD. You're not sleeping at
For
night.
sure. I was watching a video today of a guy telling a guy not to reach for his gun. He's got some guy pulled over, and he's like, do not reach into your band. Don't reach for that gun. Don't reach for your fucking gun. And the guy's like standing there with his hands like this, and he just goes in. And boom, the guy's got to shoot him. And this dude just reaches for his gun. And then there was another one where they didn't realize this guy had a gun, and he shot one of the cops, and the other cop unloaded on him. Like, fuck, man. Like, every time they pull someone over, this is like some regular-looking dude, too. He didn't even look like a criminal. He looked like a handsome young guy. And then he just had a gun. He didn't look like a homeless person. Didn't look like an ex-con. He just looked like a regular guy. And they pull him over, and it took him by surprise. The guy just pulls a gun out, starts shooting. Like, they never know when someone's a full-on psycho.
No.
You're pulling people over, and you're a cop, and the lights are on. You got them in that pressure situation. Maybe they have warrants. Maybe they did something horrible just now, and you didn't even know. You just pulled them over, luckily.
Yeah.
And they're just shooting at you. Jesus. And so they have that fear every fucking time they pull someone over.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's so funny, dude. I got into watching those sovereign citizen videos. You ever watch those?
Oh, those people are hilarious.
And the cops, like, they're so sick of it. And they, like, it's the funniest thing to watch them, like, deal with their, like, fifth sovereign citizen. Who's, like, it's so, but it's like, on top of all that other shit, you know, possibly getting your shot or the person you're working with gets shot. Also, on top of that, you're having to deal with, like, that other, just the other element.
Well, also, everybody's lying to you.
Naturally.
Everywhere you go, you're running into people that have created problems, and when you talk to them, they're lying. Like, that's got to be like 90%. Have you ever had a drink, sir?
No.
Are you drinking tonight, sir? You know, like, why is she unconscious? Like, what happened here? What's this blood coming from? Like, who hit this person? Who, you know, what happened here?
Yeah.
All day.
Yeah.
Every day. Every day everyone's lying.
Sucks.
And everyone looks at you like you're the professional enemy, especially if you have to work in an area that's crime-ridden.
Dude, there's a great app people can get, man. I can't remember the name of it, but like when you get pulled over and you're about to get popped, you just start the fucking app because it tells you what to do, like, so that you don't like you don't have to like infuriate the fucking cop. It's just exactly what you say, which is basically like, I'm gonna need a lawyer, am I under arrest, like all this stuff, but not so you don't have to like remember all the shit. And so because what that does is if you do get busted, that if you do this just the right way, then you have a higher chance of whatever the fuck you did being sort of dismissed, thrown out. Like, I can't remember the name of the app.
Did you take the right steps?
You took the right steps because it's
You
good
didn't
to
say
know those.
anything incriminating.
Good to know those steps because, by the way, that's the other fucking thing. Like, their job is not to like suddenly befriend you at 3 a.m. when they fucking pull you over.
Their job is to get you.
Their job is to fucking find out did you commit a crime.
Right.
And if you fucking are so dumb that you admit to that, then that's kind of your fault. I mean, that's your fault. So like that app, I wish I could remember the fucking name of it.
Dude, I have to pee a third time.
Me too, thank God.
I'm getting pulled over app is a few of them.
I'm getting pulled over app. Okay. Let's wrap this up. Duncan Trussell, your book, one more time.
Oh, the movie of me to the movie of we. It's an audio book, not a book.
It's available on Audible.
Audible, yeah.
And
it's only on Audible. It's not really a book.
Okay.
But it's on Audible, the movie of me to the movie of we.
And then your podcast.
The Duncan Trussell Family Hour. And I'm going to be at the Denver Comedy Works in January. Please come. You can
One of the greatest clubs ever.
It used to be the greatest club before you fucked everything up with the mothership. But you can find all my dates at duncantrussell.com.
All right. Beautiful. I love you.
Love you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.